Archer. Home win for the Missouri Tigers. Long throw in. Caught by Marino. The jumper. Got it! The Cats come back to win it! Malachi Marino, the freshman, a catch and shoot.
Jiffa to Storr. Storr with 3 to shoot. Turnaround, jumper, no good. Rebound, follow, yes! What a foul! Ole Miss with the win on Pat Pinkins' tip. And the Rebels with a victory lap after a 97-95 overtime win.
All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you a lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. We'll talk some college basketball, certainly on the docket. Last night, Mizzou, K-State in action. Tomorrow night, Kansas and Baylor, 7 o'clock on Fox, but right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We will hang out with Matt Lane coming up at 11 o'clock. KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. We'll be giving away $25 to Johnny's Tavern today in the 1 o'clock hour. A little game we call Sports or Leisure. We'll do that today. We'll talk some NFL football. We'll get into plenty of other things along the way as well. John Harbaugh is the new Giants head coach. 5 years, $100 million. Good for him, though. Good for him. We'll talk about the choosing of the Giants is a little bit like, to some degree, what these teams are going through that don't have a quarterback. We'll talk about how that is connected. I also want to ask the question. The answer may be nothing, but I do want to sort of put some thought into it before we ask the question so that, people listening can start to come up with their own opinion on it. Again, the answer could be nothing, but the Harbaugh and Tomlin development in the longest tenured coaches, teams essentially saying, we're just moving on. Whether that be the Ravens saying we're moving on, or that be Mike Tomlin saying I'm moving on. That development, does that impact Andy Reid moving forward, the connection there in any way, shape, or form? Again, the answer might be nothing, no, zero. But we'll talk about that later on in the show and get into that conversation as well. And a dream backup quarterback we'll hear from. It's not going to happen unless they give up a draft pick. But and that team ain't going to trade that person for a draft pick. But it could be a cult classic.
It could be a cult classic.
And I think it would. 913-912-4810 text line to join us to be a part of the show. 913-912-4810 text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. We'll start with Mizzou. Last night, getting the win. Kansas, a big win against Iowa State the night before. Mizzou taking care of business against Auburn last night. We'll get into the conversation around K-State, but I think that conversation has shifted to only one thing, and we'll get into that in the second segment. But Missouri bounces back from a disappointing loss on the road against Ole Miss. They face off against an Auburn team that they were then home underdogs to. Started off as a 1.5 favorite, jumped to a 1.5 underdog, and they take care of business and win by 10 points. It got a little nip-tuck there in the end.
They tried. Missouri tried. They said, you know what? When a team presses you, where should I go?
Corners.
Directly to the corner.
I mean, And
what should we do when we get fouled? Miss the free throws.
I was losing my mind last night as that lead was shrinking away and shrinking away and shrinking away. I wasn't watching it in real time with everybody else, so I couldn't tweet through it because right as the under 4 timeout was bedtime, so it's paused, and I think I caught up 45 minutes later. So that entire time when people were losing their mind or whatever, I was reading books. We were reading some fancy
Nancy.
Nancy.
Hungry caterpillar.
No, we're Fancy Nancy right now, or sometimes it's called Fancy Nancy for some reason. But we're Fancy Nancy. She gives out fancy words. Like we learned the word unique last night.
It's not that fancy
for a 6-year-old. Unique's pretty fancy, elegant.
Tell her to have a
dilemma.
She needs to learn the word plethora. and
yeah,
ergonomics.
That's probably going to be in one of these fancy Nancy books. But doing that and catching up a little bit after that and watching it, I'm going, everybody knows the result of this game right now, and I have no idea what my texts are saying because I'm getting texts and I'm ignoring them because I didn't want to know what happened. And I'm sitting there going, if they blow this thing, because it was easy to pause it at the end of 4 timeout because I'm like, okay, it feels good. They're in a good spot. So they do end up taking care of business, getting the job done. That would have been a
kick in the stones,
punch to the gut, kick in the stones type loss if you had the double-digit lead with 3 minutes to play, 3.5 minutes to play, and somehow you lost the game. It got to within 6.
And they had an open 3, if I'm not mistaken. Was that the one where they had the guy on the wing?
Down 6, open 3. Luckily, they missed it. Missouri got the rebound. They get the 3-point play from Jaden Stone, and they go up 9, and there's some, okay, you feel a little bit better. But it did not, to me, alleviate some of the frustrations there as to how they were closing out that game. Because that's all it takes in a game like that when the other team is scrambling and trying to get back in the game and you have fought for 37 minutes and built yourself a comfortable lead, and then you just start playing bad basketball and giving the game away. TCU at Kansas.
They looked like TCU. Missouri looked like TCU.
Making mistake after mistake after mistake. And honestly, throwing the ball in the corner and getting the double team, okay, how quickly can you get it back to the inbounder? Can you get it to the middle of the court? They tried a couple of those things. Throwing the ball ahead to Mark Mitchell in the corner, in the front court, an immediate double team. I'm like, you're doing exactly what they're asking you to do. Like, those things were frustrating. But I think when I got the most frustrated, before they started taking care of business.
Yeah.
When I got the most frustrated in a couple of different plays, and it was Missouri broke the press with like 1:40 to go, and they attacked the basket. And it's like, pull the ball out. Even if you take 6 or 7 or 8 more seconds dribbling away from the other team, they're trying to foul you. Instead, you just went to the bucket and got fouled.
You and I differ a little bit in that regard. I'm always team, for the most part. There's always circumstances. This team in particular, they're not a good free throw shooting team. And so when they have,
and if you've got an open bucket, take it.
That's my point. So I always think, I think some people get so enamored with time that I'm sitting here going, okay, well, maybe they do hit a 3, and you lose 1 point on that one, however long that takes, 15-second long swing. But more times than not, you're going to be okay if you make that open layup, because I like your chances of an open layup more than this team making 2 free throws. So I wasn't necessarily mad with some of the aggression getting there, but you're right. It almost didn't lead to a lot of open layups. It led to them just getting fouled quicker than they would have if they would have brought the ball back. So, again, there's always circumstances, but I think you're right that maybe they got out of control a couple times, including T.O. Barrett on that one, that where he threw up, not literally, kind of literally and figuratively threw up, threw the ball up ahead too quick, and it was ended up stolen by the Auburn
Right,
Tigers.
that one, and then you're up by 5, and Missouri breaks the press, and then T.O. with 1:10 to go attacks instead of pulling the ball out, running clock, and he gets fouled. Doesn't make the bucket, and then misses the first free throw. Now, T.O. Barrett played fine in the game, and he was a podium game. He went to the podium after the game was over.
He had a great game. Just a couple of things down the stretch that I think had our ire. He's still a younger player.
Yeah, but it's not like Anthony Robinson was doing anything special the entire game.
No.
So I'm appreciative that they were able to step to the free throw line and hit their last 5 free throws.
Yes.
After T.O. Barrett missed the first free throw, he hit the second one. Jaden Stone hit the free throw.
And then Ant hit the last 2, I believe.
And Anthony Robinson hit the last 2. That's right. The Jaden Stone and one was pretty big. That helped out. The Jaden Stone free throws that he was fouled, but he wasn't fouled.
He wasn't fouled.
He wasn't fouled.
Those refs, and it wasn't just one-sided. Those refs, I don't think had any idea what a foul was, what a travel was. I mean, I wondered if they've ever watched the game of basketball.
Here's what the broadcast missed this, and Auburn was complaining, and I think Auburn caught a break on that being called a foul. Here's why. 3-4 possessions earlier, Auburn had the ball, and they went up and laid it up, and T.O. Barrett missed the block and slapped the backboard, and they called goaltend.
Correct.
Well, Jaden Stone wasn't touched, but Auburn's point guard.
Overton, I think. Or was it Pettiford?
Pettiford slaps the backboard. Okay, well, it was just called a goaltend down there. They called it a foul there. Well, it works in Auburn's favor to make Jaden Stone shoot the free throws instead of just giving him the 2 points.
Correct.
On the like the broadcast never mentioned. He goes, "Oh, he didn't even touch him. He totally misses him and slaps the backboard." And
the exact same thing just happened. Like,
yeah.
The refs again. I was perplexed at what if they had a quota they had to hit on certain things.
He was not touched at all for that to be a foul call, but I think it worked in Auburn's favor because Jaden Stone then had to shoot the free throws instead of. It would have worked in Auburn's favor even more if they didn't call the foul or the goaltend.
Correct.
And they didn't call the goaltend. But Jaden Stone, credit to him, he stepped up, knocked down some shots. He hit some big threes in the game, pull-up threes. Trent Pierce was phenomenal in this game.
40 points. What did Mizzou lose to Illinois by?
43.
43.
Yeah.
We laughed and said that they weren't worth 43 points. Yeah, they probably weren't.
Last night they were.
They were 40 points. Jaden Stone and Trent Pierce.
Yeah.
Again, this team looks night and day different with those two guys because without those two guys, you have one guy who can shoot threes, and that's Jacob Cruz. Robinson, if he's wide open, but like Jacob Cruz. You now have 3 3-point shooters on your team. T.O. Barrett's emergence as we know he's a phenomenal defender, but as a creator, great defender who can also get a lot of rebounds, so athletic. I mean, this team has really started to blossom into a nice role for certain players. You're no longer playing Porter, who
he's injured.
You're not playing him.
Yeah,
you're not playing him when he comes back.
I'm fine if you're not playing him, even though Dennis Gates last night said, getting these guys back was big. We're at 95% right now because we're not full because we don't have Javon with us yet. And I'm like, or back yet. I'm like, you're okay.
Yeah, you don't need him out. The 2 minutes that Luke Northweather had, you can give to Porter.
I also don't need Luke Northweather coming in for the 2 minutes and shooting 2 shots.
Correct. And you don't need Sebastian Mack. I'm sorry, Sebastian Mack, but you look, because defensively, at least Boateng brings some. Again, this is what I talked about yesterday. He's your Andre Roberson. Dude cannot play offense, but he is one of the best defenders you will watch. Anor Boateng is just a linebacker who can slide his feet. And I will also point out on the press break, real quick, I want to give Dennis Gates a little credit here because I don't think he was coaching him to throw directly into the corner. And we kept.
Maybe he was because they kept doing it.
They kept doing it.
You got 3 timeouts and you didn't call one.
If you watched from just, I kept looking, go, this can't be the play. They had T.O. Barrett a lot of times coming directly down the middle, but the pass would automatically go to the corner. It's like the inbounder panicked every single time. He goes, guy open, pass. And every single time, there was a guy wide open. It was a great play call. They did it 3 or 4 times. A guy who ran right to the middle, right to the open court, and no one was around him because everyone was in the corners. And not once did the inbounder throw to that guy. And I was just beside myself screaming, saying, he's open in the middle of the court. He turns around and can get straight downhill easy. What are we doing here?
My frustration was you've got 3 timeouts, you're getting trapped, and you should know you've got 3 timeouts. Use one of them. The 3 timeouts were used when Mark Mitchell got trapped in the corner. That was the first one. The second one was on the challenge because you got trapped yet again. So, use those. But still, they win by 10. Like, I don't want to go to the negative parts about it. The way it ended left somewhat of a sour taste in your mouth because of almost giving it away. But they played against an Auburn team that was hungry for a win because they're sitting at 1-2 in conference play. Mizzou sitting at 2-1. Auburn's coming off a big win against Arkansas. Missouri's coming off a loss against Ole Miss. Missouri's playing at home where they're really good, and they continue to be undefeated at home this year. Yeah. And Missouri stepped up, and they played phenomenal basketball. Jaden Stone was good. Trent Pierce was really good. Anthony Robinson struggled yet again in the game, and I think that's where other guys.
And Cruz, by the way, this is 3 straight games now that Cruz has been a non-factor.
Yeah. And I think Cruz should be playing the 15-minute role. Like, I think that's part of what Missouri, when they were playing some good teams earlier in the season without Pierce and without Jaden Stone, is that Cruz was playing 25 or 30 minutes. He's a nice role player that can come off the bench and shoot and help you out if need be, but he shouldn't be a 30-minute-a-game player. That was necessity. He should be, even if he's starting, he should be a 15-minute player because you're hoping you can get that more often from Trent Pierce.
Sure.
And hopefully you can get Trent Pierce in better shape moving forward as well, as he was huffing and puffing and, trying to get back into game shape. And
28 minutes, though, still.
Dennis Gates told a funny story, and he said, he was so tired he tried to take himself out of the game. And he said, he looked over at me tired, and I could tell what he wanted to do, so I just looked away somewhere else. I'm like, you ain't coming out of the game, dude. We ain't taking you. The way you're playing, you ain't coming out of the game. You're going to have to suck it up and play. He's like, I just looked away from him. Like, I'm not taking you out. Trent Pierce was like, yeah, I was exhausted there.
Yeah.
It's like, as I get back into better game shape, because again, he's only played a 3 games, and that's the most minutes there, 28. So there are still some improvements to go if Trent Pierce, he and Jaden Stone getting back playing together. And he brought up an interesting point and said that Jaden Stone and Trent Pierce had never played basketball with each other until the break after Illinois, because Trent Pierce was injured and then Jaden Stone was injured. So the first time they sort of learning to play with each other was in that break between Illinois and then Florida. So it was a big win last night. Let's hear from Dennis Gates, because we're talking about the end of the game, and when that game got to within 5 points, I said 6, but it actually got to 77-72, and Missouri then made the plays the rest of the way defensively, breaking the press, knocking down free throws and ones. Here's Dennis Gates was asked about what he saw in the final 2 minutes of the game with his team going from leading by 5 and reeling to winning by 10.
I saw our program respond to what we knew was going to happen, a team fighting back late in the game and trying to find a way. That's SEC conference play. It's going to go possession by possession. We knew that we had a double-digit lead, but there's no doubt about it. They put themselves in a great situation to get away with 8 free throws, and we were able to respond. That's the most important thing I will focus on. Our guys didn't do anything bad. I thought Auburn did everything right to kind of muck up the game at that point. Once we started playing on our toes and not our heels, putting pressure on our basket, no matter how far we was away, we were able to break the press and execute and obviously get to the line. Last game, I thought being able to make free throws, in those times cost us because we were obviously missing them. But tonight, we were able to close a game, and that's the sort of confidence you need to be able to close a game with free throws.
I thought that was a big part of it, too, because against Ole Miss, they just couldn't hit anything late. I mean, Ole Miss was pulling away. They were hitting shots, and Missouri couldn't knock down a free throw. And it was bigger players that couldn't knock down free throws. Anthony Robinson misses free throws. Jaden Stone missing free throws. Mark Mitchell missing free throws against Ole Miss. And it was that was happening, and I'm like, well, this game's over. Like, they're going to lose this game. It sucks. But starting out 2-1, you would absolutely take that. We'll see how they respond against Auburn. And they had to step up and hit free throws, and they did. They stepped up, they hit the free throws, and they end up winning the game. And how does that then carry them, catapult them against LSU on the road on Saturday, an LSU team that is waking up today feeling really bad about themselves with a 1-point lead with 1.6 seconds to go, and Kentucky inbounding under their own basket.
It was Christian Laettner.
The LSU basket, I should say. So full court.
Christian Laettner is the best way to describe it. It was, again, as good of a pass as you will ever see. LSU, you can't, I don't know what you do differently unless you just have a taller guy.
Well, I mean,
knock that ball away.
You know what's funny is, look, I would love to hear people that are going, well, what the hell was LSU doing guarding the inbounder? Why wouldn't you just go and double team in the front court there when it's been Kentucky for, 27 years since 1992 you were, or 37, 33 years. I'll do the math eventually. 33 years of 1992.
34.
when
Now.
well, it's 2026 now. I'm looking at like 25,
I just wanted to be a
26.
smart ass. I'm
I know.
sorry.
You get it. It was a long time ago. I was a 12-year-old, Jason. Actually,
30.
at the time, I was 11.
30 plus years.
I was 11 at the time because I hadn't turned 12 yet.
Was it a Saturday?
It was a Saturday or a Sunday because it was a regional final. So it was one of the two. And what's been the talk forever, and Rick Pitino has lost sleep over more than anything, not guarding the inbounder. I didn't guard Grant Hill. I'd have put somebody on Grant Hill instead of double teaming Christian Leitner. Well, then last night it's like, well, what's that guy going to do down there in guarding the inbounder? Why wouldn't you have an extra defender in the front court? It's like, okay, so for 15, 20, 25, 30, is it 33 or 34 years? We've been talking about how dumb Rick Pitino was that he didn't guard Grant Hill in the inbound and let that easy pass go. And then we see this game and you're going, well, that guy guarded the inbounder and it didn't matter. And then you just had a one-on-one catch down at the at the elbow and he jumped up and caught it. At least Christian Leitner had two guys on him. You know, it was a great pass and a great catch and a great play. This one seemed a little more difficult because of how he caught the ball.
It makes the pass that much more difficult. I mean, that pass.
But I just do think it's funny in the guard the inbounder, don't guard the inbounder, all of that stuff. For was it 72 years we've been talking about Rick Pitino and guarding the inbounder?
13-second game. It all comes down to how why didn't you kick? Why did you not kick it out of the end zone? Or why did you kick it and he didn't return it? If it would have worked, you would have complained and said, why didn't you do the opposite?
It would be more of why didn't you play better defense on those two plays? Why did you only play with five guys on defense? But that was LSU is now trying to bounce back from that.
But great for Mizzou. Florida looks great.
Yeah, they do.
Kentucky's winning some ball games. Those wins are looking better. Auburn has that big win over Arkansas. Now you need Auburn to go on a little bit of a run here. But Missouri is starting to play their way back into the tournament because last I saw, prior to this game, Missouri was still on the outside looking in, especially after that Ole Miss loss. I think now you have that real conversation of they're starting to play their way back into the tourney, and I do think that Jaden Stone and Trent Pierce have this team, especially offensively, playing at such a different level. And again, I'm not trying to say anything bad against Sebastian Mack or Javon Porter, but those minutes going more to T.O. Barrett and Anor Boateng. Again, they might not be the best offensive players in the world, but T.O. still found a way to score 13. Boateng is going to be a much better defender than whatever Sebastian Mack's bringing you on the in any given game. So I like the rotations that Dennis Gates has eventually found out works.
And that Florida team, since they lost to Missouri, they beat Georgia by 15, they beat Tennessee by 24, and they just beat Oklahoma on the road by 17. They get ready for Vandy on Saturday in Nashville. That's a big one. But Florida's looking like the team that is a second weekend, third weekend caliber team. And that one loss since December 9th, that 4-point loss neutral site against UConn, the only loss since then is Mizzou on the road, losing by 2. I think that win for Mizzou is going to look better and better and better as the season goes along. And 21, if we're looking, the bracketology stuff, there's 68 brackets that are on Bracket Matrix right now. Mizzou's in 21 of them, as high as a 9, as low as a 12. CBS Sports, they are a 12 seed in the play-in game right now in the bracket that came out yesterday. Joe Lenardi does not even have them in the next first 4 out. And the
I saw that
out.
was the last update was the 13th. So that was after the Ole Miss game, but prior to the Auburn game.
Prior to last night, yes. So that was.
Which, by the way, I didn't think Missouri should be in after the Ole Miss loss. I think that they were on the outside looking in.
Well, and it was a little surprising that they were that far out with Joe Lenardi. But again, it's January 15th now. We'll see. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and we will talk about K-State and what I believe now moving forward is really the only conversation to have about K-State. We do that next.
FanDuel, baby. By the way, I told y'all to take Missouri last night, but you didn't listen. You probably faded me, which you'd still be doing pretty well if you fade me overall. But FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Each game day during the divisional round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. More boosts means more ways to level up your playoff bets. Pick the matchups that you believe in, take a shot on an upset, or build a parlay that fits the moment. I've been talking a lot about this one. This is the one I feel most strongly in. I like Bills over Broncos. I actually think I like the under of Josh Allen pass yards. I think he's been banged up. I think they're going to try and lean on James Cook a little bit. And I like the under of Bo Nix pass yards as well. I think it's going to be a little lower scoring game. Couple that with the Bills winning outright. I think it's a nice little 3-leg parlay. So what you could do is then apply your profit boost and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs keep rolling. So all you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/local and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Matt Lane coming up at 11 o'clock, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. News involving the Chiefs yesterday is Xavier Worthy tweeting out about the torn labrum that he had surgery for. We'll talk about what that means. what it means for how we view the 2025 season for Xavier Worthy, year number 2 for him in the system, what it could mean moving forward, things like that. We'll do that coming up with Matt Lane at 11 o'clock. Kansas State last night loses, and, we discussed yesterday about, the opportunity ahead of them with UCF at home, in which they were a 1.5 favorite, Oklahoma State on the road, Utah at home, getting ready for that January 24th matchup, 7 o'clock on the Big Fox at home against Kansas. And they come out and don't – it wasn't the start of the game because they had a lead in the first 5, 6, 7 minutes. Sorry about that. That wasn't on purpose. 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. There we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Go. But then they quickly find themselves down by 16 points. And, you can fight back, you can battle back, you can do some of the things there. But when you talk about teams that are desperate, teams that are leaving it on the floor, Kansas versus Iowa State doing that, that wasn't Kansas State last night at home against UCF.
Nope.
In what felt like was this could be carry over the tough loss against Arizona State, but you were there ready to go. Now you get to return home. Carry over to a degree that, unfortunately, the defensive side of the floor seems like a leisure activity to then get the ball back so they can go try to score. It's like, what do we do? Hold on. What are we supposed to do between shooting the ball? We got to go over here and do something? Okay, well, the quicker they score, we can get the ball back, right, and go? Awesome, let's do it. Let's go. It's like a leisure activity. It's like rock, paper, scissors. Kansas State players are playing while the other team's scoring. All right, let's go play basketball. And that's unfortunate because there is, I don't know, man. There are frustrating ways of watching basketball. Maybe the most frustrating way of watching basketball is watching a team that cannot score.
Sure.
Is just like nails on a chalkboard. It's pulling teeth to try to watch that game. It's like you can't score, and you're hoping to win these games 60 to 57. And good God.
Conzo ball.
Thank you. There's another level of frustration on the opposite side of you can't stop anybody. And you don't feel like you want to stop somebody. And if your coach is saying the Big 12 season, games come down to who wants it more, that's tough for the coach to say while his team is 0-4.
You're not Alabama. You're not going to score 110 points where you can be a little maybe lax defensively. And I don't think Bama really is. They just play at such a fast pace.
Mm-hmm.
This K-State team, to me, is so frustrating to watch because I think they are semi-talented. I don't think that they are. That's my point. I don't think that they are a untalented team. I think they are playing so far below their talent level, which is so. Again, if you are an alumni or a fan of K-State, that might be the most frustrating part. How many times do you talk about a team that's better than the sum of their parts, right? Or a team that they get the most out of what they have.
Yeah.
This team gets the least out of what they have. And you're right, defensively is brutal. You shoot 33s, UCF shoots 15, and they make more than you?
Yeah.
PJ Haggerty, he's a great offensive player, but he just seems like he's just trying to get his. I don't get it. You look at this team and you go through and you're like, man, yeah, Bashir can shoot. PJ Haggerty, great offensively. Nate Johnson is a fine player as well. Castillo's a pretty good sixth man off the bench. McGriff can add a little bit as a semi-big guy. You look at it and you're like, that's not a bad team. 0-4, 9-8.
Yeah.
And UCF's not a bad team, but I'm not trying to say
they were in the top 25 before losing last week.
I'm not saying UCF is this. You should have waxed UCF. That's not what I'm saying. But when you watch the games, you just see that you just feel like they don't care.
Well, it's not only okay, you should come out there and beat this team down. It's not about that. It's more of your peers in the conference or teams you think could be up here in the conference, what are you doing against those teams?
Yes.
And you're losing to those teams. Like it's one thing to lose to Arizona, understandable. Losing to BYU, understandable. Losing to Arizona State by 3, all right. Losing by, 9 points at home to UCF, in which you were down 16. Like, there are some things we can get into individually and talk about, like the minutia of the season. But to me, the only conversation around K-State basketball is the buyout for Jerome Tang.
Yep.
That's it. They're 9-8 and they're 0-4 and they're barreling towards 3 straight seasons without an NCAA tournament. That's not good enough at K-State. I don't care. He seems to be an amazing guy.
Wait.
But how many coaches have we Konzo Martin'd this thing to where, look, I love Konzo, but it's time to move on. Look,
Yeah.
I love this. This guy seems like an awesome. Romeo Cornell seems like a really good dude. He ain't a head coach. Time to move on. This guy seems like an awesome dude. It's not working. Jerome Tang seems like he's salt to the earth. Great guy. It ain't working. At this point, the conversation is, can he do enough to save his job by the end of the season for another year? And do K-State fans even want that to be the case? Because what is doing enough the rest of the way? Making the tournament? Just barely making the tournament and losing? I think certainly would probably give them another year, but they have to finish, putting it this way, they've got to finish the next 14 games at 500, so 7-7, to even match what last year's win total was of 16. But here's the problem with that, is year number 1 with Jerome Tang, 26 wins. Year 2, 19 wins. Year 3, 16 wins. Year 4, again, this team's 0-4 and has to go 7-7 in the Big 12 just to match last year.
Yeah.
So if they go anything below 500, it would be 26, 19, 16, and then fewer. There's a clear direction that the program is heading in. The issue is almost $19 million is the buyout if you fire him before April 30th. You're typically going to be hiring a new coach before that, around the Final Four, around early April. That's when you're finding the coaches. So the candidacy, the good coaches out there would have been, hired by then. But if you let him play another year or coach another year, and it's the same thing, the buyout drops to roughly $16 million. So Is it worth the $3 million to say we'll see if he can get it together another year? Because what's the evidence to show? It's not like you go, well, let's see if he can put it together because we're going to give him more NIL money. That's what, to me, is working against him more than Bruce Weber. Like Bruce Weber's last 3 years, he didn't make an NCAA tournament, and it was time to go. Those last 3 years, though, were coming off a Big 12 regular season title. Coming off back-to-back tournaments, one in which they went to the Elite Eight, and then the next year won the Big 12.
Yeah.
Then they didn't go to the tournament. Now it bottomed out with 11 wins and 9 wins and 14 wins. So worse than the 19, 16, and whatever Jerome Tang and K-State will end up with this year. If they go 500, it will be 19, 16, and then 16. But it was so far and away not good enough at Kansas State. This is clearly not good enough at Kansas State. And the question starts to be asked, is it worth it to give them the $19 million as a buyout? And I would say, can they afford not to? Because you're spending money. What hurts Jerome Tang a little bit more than Bruce Weber is Bruce Weber wasn't spending $4 and $5 million on a roster.
Yeah.
He wasn't he was growing his hair out because he refused to cheat. Remember, he wouldn't cut his hair until the NCAA finally, put the hammer on Kansas for all the Adidas cheating and everything.
His hair is down to his ankles.
Yeah, so
now.
He was clearly not paying any players to get there. Jerome Tang is, legally, but he's investing literally millions of dollars in revenue sharing and NIL into these last couple of teams that both of them are barreling towards being under 500. And at that point, it's like if I'm Kansas State, I don't know that I can look at it and go, well, one more year, we'll see if he can get it together. Because what's the evidence that he'll get it together one more year? We'll go and give him more money for the NIL to go and get other players there that aren't going to gel and come together like it was the first year? What is it, the evidence that says this will be turned around? And not only this will be turned around, he's the guy that can get K-State to a level that you feel like you should be at, that for a decent amount of time was Frank Martin and K-State basketball was relevant.
Yeah.
And they are just, that's the problem. They are irrelevant the last 3 years.
Who was wanting him? Why
Arkansas.
It was Arkansas. That's why I thought it was Arkansas.
So at least a conversation around it. They were maybe interviewing him. I don't know if they were going to actually hire him.
And K-State panicked. I think K-State panicked, and they said, we don't want to start over again. He's our guy. We got to make sure they panicked. And we'll find out. I think the same conversation could eventually be had. Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe with Eli and Missouri. At some point, and again, I love Eli, and I hope it works. And, you know, the 10 and 10, and then what was it this year? 8 or 9 wins. I mean, he's done a fine job. Eventually you get the quarterback, and eventually you have to do a little more than that. But again, we'll find out if these schools panicked of, we know who we have. We think they're good enough. Are they the best? No, they're not the best, but we're going to pay him like they're a top 10 guy. We're going to pay him like he's one of the best because we don't want to lose him. We don't want to start this search over again, and maybe it's worse. But then you're left overpaying these guys. And then what happens if they underperform, especially early in that contract extension? Well, now you're on the hook for a bleep ton of money. Drum Tang sitting back going, isn't it amazing what you can do?
Hey.
Isn't it amazing?
What's that all about?
With $20 million, what you can do?
Hold on.
What you can do to pay me to not coach your team?
Well, I mean, it is, and it could be $19 million.
I was waiting for your Drum Tang earlier. You said amazing, and I was like, it's weird you're talking about Drum Tang, and you didn't do the amazing voice.
I don't know. Maybe it was just a Freudian slip when I said amazing.
You said amazing, and you didn't do the voice.
Subconsciously, I think of Jerome Tang, and I think of amazing.
I think K-State panicked, and we talked about this last year. It took, by the way, them having Scott Drew go into their locker room to turn that team around last year.
For 6 games. And then
for 6 games. Or else it would have been that 6-game stretch. It doesn't have, he might not have even made it to this year.
It would have been rough. The problem, and I think there was a little Joe Flacco-ish thing to Jerome Tang, where Joe Flacco's contract year was the Super Bowl, and he went 11 touchdowns, no interceptions through the playoffs, and then he was a free agent. And it's like, well, you're not going to let a Super Bowl winning quarterback walk.
Yep.
You're going to pay him the money. Had that postseason run not happen, the Ravens probably walk from Joe Flacco and figure out their next guy.
But is he elite?
That's right. Jerome Tang had taken his team to the Elite Eight, and then the next year was just short of the tournament, went to the NIT, lost the first round, and it was like, yeah, but now he's going to regroup and get all these other players back. He's got some guys coming in. It's going to be the NIL era. We're gonna infuse some money in there, and he's going to be back to being the guy that he was that went to the Elite Eight. Well, Arkansas was trying to hire him for a reason, or was at least talking to him for a reason that they felt like, well, look what Jerome Tang has done in 2 years, and he worked with Scott Drew at Baylor. Yeah. So this is a guy that maybe could be the next one. Let's get him from Kansas State. In Kansas State, and, you've got to make a decision at that point. Do we believe in this guy that we think this 1 year will be the anomaly?
Sure.
And not the trend in the wrong direction? And if we believe that, why would we let him walk to a team that wants to hire him that's a good program in college basketball? It's not Frank Haith going Mizzou to Tulsa. Well, yeah, Tulsa wants to hire you. Okay.
Sure.
No, it's not another team trying to come and grab. Florida's not trying to grab Frank Haith. It's Tulsa. Okay, Arkansas was wanting to talk to Jerome Tang. And at that point, you're sitting back going, okay, if we let him walk, what do they see that we don't? And he's our guy.
Sure.
And we hired him. It was a difficult spot. But then you say the next year, Arkansas wouldn't have come calling after a 19-win season and a 16-win season.
Yeah, how thrilled is Arkansas right now?
Well, yeah, they got Cal. I mean,
I know.
They're
thrilled.
Yeah, they got, and especially if it was Cal or Tang.
Correct.
You end up with the better coach. There's one part working against Jerome Tang compared to Bruce Weber, and there's one part currently right now that I think is working in Jerome Tang's favor in terms of a buyout. What's not working in his favor is when you compare him to Bruce Weber. Yeah, Bruce Weber's regular season last 3 years was awful, but he wasn't paying millions and millions and millions of dollars for that roster. That's working against Jerome Tang. What's working for Jerome Tang right now is I think the next couple of games you start to lose more, but K-State's killing it in the portal right now. They got the edge from Oklahoma State that chose K-State over Mizzou. They got another big offensive lineman that Colin Klein got. They got the excitement around football. The tournament's going to go on, and right after that's going to be spring football starting up for K-State. I think that's working in Jerome Tang's favor because right now you can sort of be like, well, I don't care about basketball because Colin Klein and football is the excitement right now going on. If the football program was struggling, your frustration would be taken out solely on the basketball program and what's happening right now. But there's so much excitement around the football program that you might be more of a, whatever for that right now. But football, hell yeah, let's go see what Colin Klein is going to do. And the transfer portal's killing it, and they're getting these guys. And, let's see what Avery Johnson's going to look like. Whereas a year from now, when that dies down, if Jerome Tang's doing the same thing, well, then it's full focus and projection and frustration because there's a checking out from K-State fans right now.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the problem, is you check out, you don't care anymore. Where's the focus going? Well, when Missouri was 0-18, you check out, where's the focus going? To football.
Sure.
Where's the focus going for K-State? Well, Colin Klein's there. It's going to football.
KU, when football was bad, it was where's it going? Basketball.
Basketball. Constantly. We're a basketball school anyway. It's a basketball school. It's a basketball school. It doesn't matter. It's a basketball school. That's, to a degree, helping Jerome Tang. But you can't be sitting back in the athletic department and go, yeah, we got excitement around the football program, so we're good. Because there's no evidence moving forward that you can turn it around by saying, well, yeah, but here's the thing. We haven't given enough money to him to go and build a roster, so now we're going to infuse more money for him to build a roster. You can't even say that right now. So the question is, do you spend money on a roster, or do you spend money on the $19 million and go find a different coach? Because if I'm K-State, how much are you willing to take? What's the standard? Kentucky fans, Kansas fans, they're nuts. Kentucky fans more. But they're nuts in terms of what the expectation is yearly.
Sure.
What's happened with Bill Self the last couple of years, not acceptable. Losing in the first round, not acceptable. Missouri going to the tournament, awesome. You made the tournament. Kansas State, if they make the tournament this year, heck yeah, get back on the right path. But because the expectation is that high, Mark Pope at Kentucky, it's year number 2. Fire him. Yeah. Billy Gillespie lasted 2 years. Fire him. Go get someone. Tubby Smith won a national championship, and then he would make the tournament and lose. They called him 10-loss Tubby every year. He'd be like
man.
4,
That's
5,
a
6
brutal,
seed. 10
brutal
loss.
name.
He's going to lose 10 games. He's going to be like 21-10 every year, and then make the tournament, win a game or so, and then lose. Enough. Done. Yeah. Then they get Cal. The expectations are you'd better be making runs. What are the expectations at Kansas State basketball?
Because if someone in Missouri make the tournament every year.
Or every couple of years.
Or 3 out of 4.
3 out of 5, maybe.
Sure.
3 out of 5, but also win a couple of games. Maybe make a second weekend, once out of every 4. Like, have it, or 5, whatever it might be. You have to decide what your standard is. Because right now, this is falling so far below the standard. Since the Elite 8 run since winning the Big 12 and then losing in the first round, it's been 7 years in one tournament. That was an Elite 8 run. It was a fun one. But one tournament in 7 years? The first 3, you say, well, that's Bruce Weber. Yeah, but these are now 4 with Jerome Tang. And it was that one tournament run. What are you willing to accept? And if you're willing to accept this because of the money, then guess what you're going to continue getting, which is this. It's big business. You're paying the players. If you're willing to pay $7, $8, $9 million for a roster, you'd better be willing to pay $19 million to move on from a coach that can put a roster in place that you're paying all that money for anyway. More Zone next.
I know exactly what I am doing this weekend. I'm going to the Back 9 Golf. I'm going to go and use their full swing sims. It's the best ones in the market, the same ones that are in Tiger's basement. I'm going to bring my own snacks and beverages because I can go whenever I want to. It's 24/7, 365 access, and it's close to me, 75th and Metcalf. I'm going to hit some balls, maybe play TPC Sawgrass. I'll see if Overton and Sales wants to go. He beat me by a stroke last time. I'm man enough to admit it. He played out of his gourd, but I want a rematch. So, Overton, I know you're listening. I want a rematch. I'm playing you this weekend. I'm going to kick that ass. Okay, we're playing. Run it back because the Back 9 Golf is so much fun. Yes, it's great. I know my swing speed, my smash factor, my ball speed, things I'm all trying to improve on. But I'm also trying to go and have a little fun, and that's exactly what you can do. It's a great place to host parties, host clients, work on your game, and hang out with friends. It is the Back 9 Golf. Make sure you go to back9golf.com/Overland Park. I will be there this weekend, and you can too, because right now, go to theback9golf.com/Overland Park and use code WHB and you will get 1 free hour. That is right, code WHB for 1 free hour. The Back 9 Golf.
Frank Martin, 5 years at Kansas State. 4 out of 5 went to the tournament. Won an NCAA tournament game all 4 of those tournaments. And went to the Elite Eight in one of them. I mean, if K-State feels like that's the standard of what they had in Frank Martin before they as in one person, blew that, then find that guy. and move on when you realize that ain't the guy. Instead of going, well, the money, it's a lot. Yeah, it happens. Mistakes are made. But now you're doubling down on your mistake if you continue to stay with somebody you don't believe is the answer. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. Coming up at 1 o'clock, playing a little sports or leisure. Giving away $25 to Johnny's Tavern in sports or leisure. Let's talk some NFL football. Joining us now, Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast here in the zone. Matt, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We are slowly closing in on full-on draft season. Next week, I'm heading down to Dallas to go to the East-West Shrine game and watch some practice, talk to some prospects down there. So I'm having as good time as I can without the Chiefs being in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say, how are you enjoying and watching the playoffs with no Chiefs? I guess maybe your attention doesn't have to be split in a way. Like you can, as you said, you fully focus on the things you might have been doing anyway without having to break down different matchups week by week. I'm trying to find the silver lining for you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, that is the one thing, right? Like, I get super excited for this time of year with the draft because I do love it so very much, but usually my time is split, and I would take the split time 100 times out of 100, don't get me wrong. So, yeah, I am missing the Chiefs in the playoffs a little bit. Thankfully, we did at least have a super entertaining week of football over the wild card weekend, so that, helps ease the pain a little bit, but it's a weird time this year. This is the first time since I've been doing this, writing, talking, podcasting about the Chiefs, in which they haven't been playing football right now.
Yeah, it's the first time in a long time. It's the first time that I've been back in Kansas City that the Chiefs haven't been playing in the AFC Championship game, at least. So I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm not sure. Do I start the draft talk? Do we start really breaking down prospects on the air? It was easier to do when it was like, early February, and then the Chiefs would win the Super Bowl or play in the Super Bowl, and like 4 days later, pitchers and catchers would report to Arizona for the Royals, and it was like that transition, and conference play and college basketball's wrapping up and into the tournament. It was nice. It was easy. And this year, what happened, Matt? The Chiefs screwed us. That's what they did. They screwed. They weren't thinking of us when they had the season that they had, and I feel like that's selfish of them to do. So.
Sometimes the team should just be looking out for the fans, right?
Yes.
Like sometimes they ought to do right by us and have a little bit of success so that we can, understand what we're doing in January into February.
Thank you. I mean, if you don't want to win for you, win for us. Just come on. Matt Lane is our guest. Okay, so we find out last night Xavier Worthy goes through surgery to repair a torn labrum. This was interesting in the reaction last night because I feel like there is people are of two camps on this. That one side is, okay, the guy played through a torn labrum after the third play of the season the rest of the way, so maybe a little credit for this guy being tough as nails and being able to play through that and not miss games until, late in the season. The flip side is, oh, really? So the torn labrum had him not understand where the sideline is? Had him, not be sort of in connection with Patrick Mahomes. I think it's interesting the way we view Xavier Worthy after his sophomore year compared to the way we viewed him after his rookie year going into year 3, when now we know the labrum at least impacted it to some degree. So, Matt, how do you view this with Xavier Worthy? We're going to give him a mulligan this year because of the labrum, or the labrum should impact, but not to the degree that we saw maybe lesser than from Xavier Worthy in year 2?
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him that this injury happened so early in the year, and then with everything going on with Rashee Rice being suspended and returning from injury, the uncertainty around the rest of the pass catchers, that he still did have to be such a focal point of this offense for a while. That, however hurt he was when he was playing, which I'm sure was a lot. Like, I'm going to be very clear. We can go back. He obviously had a torn labrum. We knew that at the time. We know that now. It required surgery. Playing through that in football is incredibly difficult. The fact that he was able to do it all year, nobody can doubt how tough he is. I think if we go back to Texas, I believe it was his sophomore year, he played the majority of the year. I believe it was with a broken hand. He's a tough player. He plays through a lot of injuries, and you have to give him credit for that. And so I don't want to be too critical of this past season for Xavier Worthy because we don't know how much impact that played. That being said, some of the same issues that you had with questions of him coming out of college and even as a rookie still showed up this year. And I don't know if the shoulder entirely should play a role and him not being very good getting off the line of scrimmage versus press coverage, and him kind of veering away from contact downfield, not only like in terms of being hit, but when running a route, he's having to run around cornerbacks, and that makes him a lot slower. That makes that 4.2 speed no longer look like 4.2 when you have to avoid everybody or they can slow you down. So I don't think we got to see the development that we were really hoping for, and it's hard to know how much is based on injury and how much is just the fact that he's a 170-pound wide receiver trying to play in the NFL full of a lot of guys that are very big and also very fast.
So I asked Kendall Gammon last week on Friday, because they had already made the move of letting go Connor Embry at wide receiver coach. And so, talking to Kendall, and I said, okay, what's, we know about the head coach and the coordinators, but what's the impact of a good or bad positional coach? And, he went on to talk about how important it is, and communication and a lot of things, and how it makes such a difference in the room with players and so much time that you're spending with your particular position coach. And then it all comes together on the field, but there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes with that. So I do wonder, Matt, when the Chiefs make the move that they do pretty quickly, that I think they probably recognized at some point this year. I don't think the Chiefs went into the exit meetings on Monday after the last game of the season and then, looking around. You know what? I think, should we examine Connor Embry as the wide receiver coach? Should we? I think they made this decision a while ago that they were going to move on from Connor Embry. So how much then would that add to the, let's say, excuse, some would say, reason, other people might say, as to what feels like a lack of development and taking a step forward from year one to year two, if the Chiefs feel like, first and foremost, the first move they were making is at wide receiver coach, that they need to bring somebody else in?
It certainly plays a role, right? Like, positional coaches for every team are going to have slightly different, roles. They're going to have different jobs, and they're going to be asked to do different things. But a good positional coach and a bad one, and I don't mean to say that Connor Embry is a bad wide receiver coach, but we have not seen anything from the Chiefs' development, and the fact that, they essentially did move on very quickly, which is something they don't do very often after the year, says that they weren't happy with what they got out of him in that role. So we can say he at least wasn't doing as good of a job as they hoped. And that is going to factor in Rashee Rice's development, because I know he was coming back from injury, but you probably also saw a slight step back from him this year than what you saw pre-knee injury at the start of the 2024 season. And Xavier Worthy didn't really show any growth from his rookie year to his sophomore year, even beyond dealing with the shoulder injury, but just what he was doing on the field, even some sideline awareness stuff was still there. So some of that fault does have to fall at the positional coaching's feet, and it seems like that's the case. So I don't want to say it's an excuse. It's definitely part of the reasons. I do think you then have to look, though, yes, your lack of probably high-end wide receiver coach played a role in this. Yes, the injury probably played a role in this, but do you feel confident enough saying that was everything that went wrong this year for Worthy, or was that only part of it and there are still going to be some limitations to his game going forward, making it a position that has a very high priority for you to add more bodies to come the next season?
Yeah, because there's a scenario where they make the same mistake they did last year in the offseason, in that, okay, the running back room's going to be fine because Pacheco's going to be healthy. And when Pacheco's healthy and more explosive, we're good. Kareem Hunt comes back. There's our short yardage guy. And Pacheco wasn't the same guy after he got injured, and yet they still made the Super Bowl, and he was back. But when he returns next year, he'll be full go. That was a mistake because that didn't happen, and there were other issues going on with the run game where I hope that, and maybe that is the case with Xavier Worthy. We won't know. Time will tell. More data comes in. We'll have a better understanding. But I do wonder, coming off an offseason where they said, the running game will be fine because Pacheco will be healthier, if they then go, well, we're not going to bank on the passing game or the wide receivers being fine because Xavier Worthy's coming off of injury, we need to do some other things to address that and acknowledge the fact that there's a chance that this is just who Xavier Worthy is, and that is not a first-round draft pick number one receiver. It's not necessarily a number two receiver. It's a higher drafted Mecole Hardman, and you need to look at yourself in the mirror and be honest about that.
Yeah, and that's one of the big questions they're going to have to, figure out as they're as they're going forward here, and they did this similar thing back in, was it 2023, right? They came into that year with the wide receiver room that, oh, we're going to have these guys that were on our team last year, they're going to get better. We are going to develop these young guys. Like, Kadarius Toney is going to be a thing, and Sky Moore is going to develop. And, okay, yeah, we'll add Rashee Rice as a rookie into this list, but, like, they were banking on development on some young guys that they had on the team to get better during that offseason. And then 2023 was, an adjunct disaster at the wide receiver position until Rashee Rice really got going in the back half of the year, that rookie year. So they've done this before where they have just, I don't want to say stood pat, but just banked on the guys they already have on the team to really develop. Yeah, they might throw another shot in there like a second-round draft pick they did with Rice, but they didn't go out of their way to try to fix it. They instead relied on developing what they had, and it kind of bit them in 2023. It kind of bit them last year with the running back room. I wonder if they are going to learn a lesson a little bit from that, especially because as we look now, on the offensive side, yes, running back's an issue. Tight end may be something they have to fill, but hey, they've at least finally fixed, for the most part, the offensive line situation. They have answers there. That doesn't have to be a big priority. Maybe now they can shift some of those resources that they're going to spend into not having to develop guys at the wide receiver or running back spot, and they can focus more on adding more talent to the room because they might just simply be lacking it.
Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Okay, so Dan Orlovsky wants to be the offensive coordinator in Detroit and said, I love Detroit. I love the organization. I'd love to be the offensive coordinator. Ryan Fitzpatrick then quote tweeted that and said, while we are putting in a request, I'd love the opportunity to become the next People magazine's sexiest man alive. Tyreek Hill then quote tweeted that and said, since we're putting in requests, I want to go home. Now, I think most people assume what he means by going home is not just that he's stuck at somebody else's house and he wants to leave and get home so he can, lay in his bed or lay on the couch and watch TV. The immediate reaction is home for Tyreek Hill would be Kansas City. I don't know. So let's assume. Let's play the speculation game, and that's exactly what Tyreek Hill is saying, well, since we're putting in a request, I want to go home and insert Chiefs in the word home. Are you interested in that, or that ship has sailed, they're moving on, he's injured, he made his decision to go and get money elsewhere, the Chiefs have moved on, won a couple of Super Bowls, and that's trying to just get the band back together again?
I lean towards the latter. Tyreek Hill, very, very special player in his prime. I think he was still a good player this past year, 2 years, year and a half, I guess, with the Dolphins. But I do think you have seen Tyreek Hill maybe not be at the same level. He might have lost a half step. And when a guy like Tyreek Hill with that level of speed loses a half step, it does show up a little bit. Now, he had grown his game. He developed a lot in terms of running routes, being a good player at the catch point. So it's not that he was a bad player, but that special superpower was gone. And I think you started to see some of the efficiency slip. And then after that brutal injury, for a guy that's game is based a lot on speed, there is no guarantee that an already starting to slip speed is still going to be there. I just don't know if I would want to be the team right now going out to acquire and or pay or trade for him in this situation. If he somehow became a free agent and there became some kind of team-friendly element to it, and I don't obviously wouldn't be playing for Juju Smith-Schuster money, but if there was a team-friendly way to bring him back, it would be more reasonable for me. But I do have some major reservations given some of the off-field just headache he has been in Miami, on top of the potential decline in his athleticism, which his game is based around.
And coming off that injury as well, that who knows what he's going to look like, if he's going to have the same speed. Some people have also said, look, he's from Georgia, and going home is to the Atlanta Falcons. That's fine, that may be the case, but that impacts us none, okay? That impacts our conversation none. So we're talking about
that.
Yeah, home means Kansas City. Let's be honest about this. Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. So you're in the draft and you're doing all these different things. Well, you're not specifically in the draft. If you were, I'd take you, man. I think you're a leader. Locker room guy, right? Real, your coach on the field is what we need here, Matt. But Dante Moore returns to Oregon. Are you surprised by this? Was he guaranteed to be the number 2 pick, and he's taken like maybe what is reported $6 or more million for 1 year of football and then to go be in the draft? What do you make of the decision as, this draft this year with the quarterbacks that Dante Moore is returning to school?
So initially watching that Oregon game versus Indiana, I was like, okay, and the way just the year had played out, I thought, yeah, he probably should go back to school, get another year in under his belt, because there's clearly things that defenses at even the collegiate level are doing that are confusing him, and he doesn't have the right answers yet. And rather than being thrust in the NFL, which is even more complicated, go get a good grasp of what you're seeing in college, then come out, and that'd be fine because he's very young and everything. But the more I thought about it, he's losing his offensive coordinator at Oregon. This year, he was probably a guaranteed top 3 pick. Maybe not 2, but I will say no later than 3, he's going to be coming either off the board or someone's trading up for him. And to go into next year's draft class, which, hey, next year's QB class is always better than this year's, but looking at next year's QB class, there's no guarantee that he's going to be a top 2, 3 quarterback coming out next year. So he's not losing a ton of money right away, but if he goes pick 20 next year instead of pick 2 or 3 this year, that does. So, I ultimately was a little surprised at the end of the day just because of the situation and the scenario that played out. But I do think it'll be good for his development because he needs a little bit more time, I think. He needs a little bit more seasoning, a little bit more experience seeing things, because I don't think everything was happening super quick in his processing right now.
How big of a deal is it from the Chiefs' perspective, picking at number 9, and if the thought was that Dante Moore was definitely going to go somewhere in that range, that he's no longer there? Is that one less defensive player that's going to be on the board with Dante Moore returning to school? Is it, maybe there's maybe somebody takes a wide receiver that they wouldn't have taken because of the trickle-down effect if the Jets were to take, Dante Moore, et cetera. How much does this impact the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good bit, right? Because you had somebody that you had a position of non-need for the Chiefs that was all but guaranteed to go ahead of you when you're only dealing with 9. Well, when you include Mendoza, only 8 other names, right? There's only 8 slots between you, or 7 slots between you and, everybody else is going to be picked. Getting another name in there is obviously beneficial. You're whittling down the players that you, A, know you're going to be able to pick from, but B, just like finding somebody you feel really good about at pick 9. So losing a player of that, like in that mold, that quarterback from that guaranteed top 9 spot or 8 spot, does hurt a little bit. The more, as we get closer though, one thing is for certain, right? Like, things are going to move around. You're going to get probably an offensive tackle or 2 that are going to really make a push into the top 10, which I don't know if that's like consensus right now. So maybe you can just get an offensive tackle that replaces his spot, and you're right back to where you were if you're trying to mock things out for the Chiefs at this point. So unfortunate for the Chiefs, but we're far enough out that I'm not panicking over it right now. It's nothing to lose sleep over. You're still, as a Chiefs fan, first time in a long time that you are picking inside the top 10, so you don't have to go too far down the list to make a list of players that you can be happy with, that you'll have a shot at getting.
So Dane Brugler, who does a great job, Dane Brugler and KC Sports Network are the draft guides that I view, The Beast and your guys' draft guide. I talk about it every year. Those are the ones that I look at the most, and he's got a mock draft out. It's January 15th. But he's got a mock draft out. And at number 9, the Chiefs are taking Caleb Downs, safety from Alabama. Right after the Chiefs take that player, the Cincinnati Bengals go with Reuben Bain. Would that be – I mean, is that fine if they go that route as a guy that offers position flexibility and he can play the slot, he can play the box, he can play, deep, Spags can use him a lot of different ways, but you're passing up on an opportunity to get one of the very few opportunities you hope the Chiefs will ever have under Patrick Mahomes to get a potential difference-making pass rusher that are typically gone in the top 12 or top 10 where you are drafting. Is that a reasonable exchange if you grab that player that can do different, diverse things for Spags as opposed to maybe a plug-and-play edge and go get the quarterback?
So for me, it's a tough sell to go with it. Like we said, the Chiefs haven't picked here in a long time, and the Chiefs are picking here, one, partially because Patrick Mahomes got injured late in the year, yes, but the season wasn't going well because they have significant holes at defensive end or pass rusher, and I think offensive skill players. Like, they just have significant holes at those 2 spots played, and there's injuries and stuff to different other positions, but those 2 massive holes in this roster play a huge role in them ending up picking in the top 10. You're finally here. it really feels like it would be just backwards logic for me to not address those two positions or those two areas that have led you to picking this high when you are finally in a position to get not a surefire, because no such thing exists, but a top 10, top 15 caliber player at either an offensive weapon spot or as a pass rusher. So at pick 9, and we're sitting there, and Ruben Dane's available, who's my defensive end 1 right now, or Mekhi Lemon's there, who's my wide receiver 1 right now.
Interesting.
I would be a little frustrated to see them take a safety who I don't think helps the pass rush or the offensive playmaking at all with guys like that being available. So, yeah, that would be mildly frustrating, even though I have zero doubt Caleb Downs is going to be a good player and Spags would use him well. I just feel like you didn't really improve the two biggest weaknesses your team had.
Yeah, with Mahomes going down and getting injured, you can make a case that they moved up 9 spots in the draft, maybe 7 at minimum, because if Mahomes is playing, I think they beat Tennessee and the Raiders. If Mahomes is out there, probably still don't beat Denver, although that game was only 20-13. But they go from that would have been, if they win those last 3, 9 wins to 6 wins, and 9-8 Detroit, 9-8 Minnesota. They're picking 17th and 18th, and that's where you would be picking instead of 9th. Like, you've got this opportunity now, and I don't know. We've seen what the Chiefs can do defensively if they can't pressure the quarterback, and I think as good as McDuffie is, Matt, even if you've got that lockdown corner on one side, and you go, whoever your wide receiver is, that guy's taking him out of the game. The quarterback can then go, okay, well, that guy sucks over there, so I can just throw the ball to that guy if I've got time to throw. And that's one of the issues there with the Chiefs, is time to throw versus a secondary that's pretty good, but time to throw is still resulting in, 3rd and longs and yards given up on 3rd down, and things like that. Last one for you, Matt. The Chiefs' offensive coordinator is not considered a great position, and I understand why it's not considered a great position, that Mike McDaniel is weighing great offensive coordinator opportunities. It can't be viewed as a great opportunity, right? Because you don't get to call the plays. But what kind of opportunity would it be for somebody? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like I don't want Kingsbury, quite frankly, to be honest. I'd love Mike McDaniel, Shieldhouse, guys like that would be awesome. But a guy who's called plays before is not going to then take over the OC with the Chiefs if he's got other opportunities to be an OC.
Yeah, it's a tricky spot. So we recorded our latest KC Laboratory, and we actually ranked the open offensive coordinator jobs, just coordinators, not head coaching, but the open offensive coordinator jobs, which there's 5 of. What did we have? We ended up having the Philadelphia Eagles, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Detroit Lions, and the Kansas City Chiefs. I put the Chiefs, for me, as the 3rd best offensive coordinator opening there, behind teams like the Lions and the Chargers, because of what you're saying. Like, there's a lack of autonomy for the Chiefs OC job. You don't get to come in and run your system. You don't get to come in, get your players. You don't get to call plays. You don't really have a lot of control. You are going to be part of a collaborative effort for what Andy Reid wants to do, but you don't get to run your show. And I do think that that matters. Now, I push back a little bit on when people are saying it's not a great OC job, spot, because it is. I mean, everybody that's an offensive coordinator for the Chiefs is getting hired to be a head coach somewhere or to get a play-calling offensive coordinator job somewhere else if they don't get that head coaching job. But 2 of the last 3 coordinators have become head coaches. Matt Nagy right now seems like he's in contention for another one. Like, ultimately, that makes it a good offensive coordinating job, is that it gives you these opportunities. So I do think there is an appeal. You just have to be okay that it's a collaborative effort for a year or 2 for you. You're not going to be the guy that's in charge of everything. And then you're either A, going to come out of this with a head coaching opportunity because of the success they have and the stability that's there, or B, hey, Andy Reid's probably not going to coach forever. If you want to be a Cliff Kingsbury and say, what if I position myself to be the Chiefs' next head coach? Yeah, it might be a year or 2. Or 3, or however long, but like, there is also a route that you could go that if you came here to be the offensive coordinator and do a good job, and Patrick Mahomes likes you, and the Hunts like you, you might get to be Andy Reid's replacement at some point in time. So I do think that there is a slight appeal to that as well.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. I like that part of it. We'll see if they can attract anybody. But let's be honest, it's Kafka or Blameyer. So let's just go ahead and call it what it is. It's what it is. And I'm maybe it's because I'm resigned to the fact I'm finding myself being more okay with Kafka, just because there is an element of a different system to a degree, that he's gone outside of Andy Reid's sort of wings and called plays in actual NFL games, as opposed to not called plays and being a quarterback coach, and Blameyer, who may be an amazing coach. I don't know. But I've sort of reconciled with the fact that that's going to happen. So trying to find, again, Matt, silver linings here. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. You're the man, Matt. Appreciate it, brother. We will talk soon. And, we're looking forward to the coverage there with the East-West Shrine Bowl as well. You guys do a great job. You kill it every year. So looking forward to that as well. Thank you, brother.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Absolutely. There's Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. And this year, look, it's going to be a whole lot more focus on the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, things like that. Shrine Bowl that's on the NFL Network. Cynthia Freeland does the sidelines for that, coming up in a couple of weeks there in Dallas. They go down and cover it every year, and it's always like they're covering the Shrine Bowl, yet we're also still talking about specifically what's going on in the Chiefs and the matchup that's coming up that particular weekend. And that's not the case this year, unfortunate. But, things happen. You can't be on top forever. It's just some only are allowed to be on top for 6 years, a 6-year run. Sometimes that's all you're allowed to do is be a 6-year run on top. Other teams, it's just one. Other teams, it's never. So who knows? We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. I want to talk about John Harbaugh takes the Giants job and how, in a way, it's just like what the Raiders or Titans or things like that were going through. And also, we asked the question earlier in the show to sort of throw it out there for people to ponder if they want to. And we said the answer could be none, impact zero. But John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, that development of the longest tenured coaches eventually deciding one way or another it's time to move on. And is there an impact or a connection in any way, shape, or form with Andy Reid and the Chiefs moving forward? We'll get into that as well. More Zone coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I seen him. Boy, what a conversation off the air. Interesting. There is some news in the NCAA that we'll get into, and that is the charges being brought on 20 different men in a point-shaving scheme involving more than 39 college basketball players on more than 17 Division I teams, 29 games being fixed or manipulated in some way, shape, or form. We had heard about this a little bit, a month ago, 2 months ago, whenever that was, that names came out. And now we know that the charges are being brought against them. NCAA President Charlie Baker issued a statement saying protecting competition integrity is the utmost importance for the NCAA. We're thankful for law enforcement agencies working to detect and combat integrity issues and match manipulation in college sports. The pattern of college basketball game integrity conduct revealed by law enforcement today is not entirely new information to the NCAA. Through helpful collaboration with industry regulators, we have finished or have open investigations into almost all of the teams in today's indictment. Our enforcement staff has opened up sports betting integrity investigations into approximately 40 student athletes from 20 schools over the past year. While some of the investigations are ongoing, 11 student athletes from 7 schools were recently found to have bet on their own performances, shared information with known bettors, and or engaged in game manipulation to collect on bets they or others placed. Behavior resulted in permanent loss of NCAA eligibility. Additionally, 13 student athletes from 8 schools, including some of those identified above, were found to have failed to cooperate in the sports betting integrity investigation, providing false or misleading information. None of those players are competing today. And go ahead.
Just really quick, you know what the best news is? That there's actually something in place that can now punish. Yep. Because I know people's initial reaction.
It's been going on for
yes, people's initial reaction is always, well, that's betting for you.
That's what happens.
And I say, no, this has been going on forever, and the only reason why we found
irregularities by the big books
is because of betting. And again, that's always my pushback. I think people's initial reaction is to blame betting, and my thing is the fact this has been going on, and the only reason why we found these people is because of the legalized betting system that is now in place.
Yeah.
Because this has been going on for as long as sports has been around.
The legalized opened the door for it to be, I think, more widely taken advantage of for players. So more opportunity for players to take the $5,000, $10,000, $30,000, upwards of $50,000 some of the players received for manipulating games. To take that money, there's more opportunity because of different ways to place bets and props, and you can do it from any state or however many states that are out there. Certainly Kansas and Missouri, you can do the prop bets. Illinois, you can't. There are no prop bets in Illinois. So there are different places where you can do that. It opens up that avenue, which obviously can be a negative from this standpoint. But what it also does is that many people with eyes on it, the last thing the books want to do is get screwed over by somebody manipulating the competition. Yep. So they have things in place to see irregularities, which is how they found Jonte Porter. Yeah. It's how they found Rozier and other players that could be involved or are involved in all of this. And how they found, the 20, 30 different college players that engaged in some way, shape, or form with game manipulation, whether their own stats or the overall game or flat out fixing games for a monetary compensation for that one particular game. You find out because the books are looking at everything that can possibly be irregular on a Louisiana Southeastern Tech game, that somehow there's $50,000 placed on a player to, have under 10.5 rebounds in that random game, So it's an extreme example. I get it.
Here are the schools named in the indictment, just for folks listening who are wondering how big are these schools? Is, a school that I root for or my alum of, or are they involved? It's Abilene Christian, Alabama State, Buffalo, Coppin State, DePaul. That's a bigger one.
DePaul or DePaul?
DePaul.
DEPAUW or DEPAUL?
Eastern Michigan.
Okay, never mind.
Fordham, DePaul. DEPAUL.
Okay.
Kennesaw State, LaSalle, New Orleans, Nichols State, North Carolina A&T, Northwestern State, Robert Morris, St. Louis. You can never trust St. Louis. Southern Miss, and Tulane. So not a ton of massive named colleges, but still some decent ones in there. And just in general, I have such an issue with players doing this. Imagine your teammates, man. Like, I can't imagine doing something like that, just screwing your teammates, your coaches over like that. Good luck getting a job, man. Imagine going to an organization now saying, yeah, I was cheating and screwing over my teammates, my coaches, the organization, the school, all of this. I'm not trying to say, holier than thou, but everyone's played sports growing up, and imagine one of your teammates when money's not even involved. I couldn't imagine going and playing at the Y and trying to tank a game. Like, that's soft, man. I bleep that. Have some integrity. Have some pride.
I do find it ironic that Kennesaw State is involved in this, and the Black Sox scandal, the commissioner was Kennesaw Mountain Landis, that banned all of the players from the Black Sox. Is Kennesaw State named after? I have no idea, and I'm throwing out this randomly. I don't know if it's even spelled the same, and maybe it was a university way before, Kennesaw Mountain. Wouldn't that would be kind of funny, ironic if Kennesaw State was named after Kennesaw Mountain Landis, the
and crazier?
MLB commissioner. What's crazier?
Southern Miss.
Yeah.
It ain't Southern Make.
I freaking hate how much I like that. Gosh darn it. That's like when in high school we would always say, Winnetonka. What do you mean? You mean Lose-a-Tonka? Sorry, folks, if you went to Winnetonka, I apologize. We were high schoolers, okay? Come on, man. Rivalries. Never graduate.
There are rivals.
There are rivals, yeah. Oh, my God, he's turned his hat around and he's sitting weird in a chair. I'm going to listen now. I'm going to pay attention.
I love the random Family Guy polls that we do that
rivals.
maybe 0.05% of listeners get, but those 0.5%, they love that.
Not like East High School over there. Ooh, there are rivals. They're talking bad about them. All right, so that's the news that came down a little bit ago. We'll take a time out. I do want to talk about John Harbaugh and the decision that he made for the Giants and the decision that some other coaches make when they're in a position and they already have a job or looking for a job with the draft pick. We'll explain the connection there as to what John Harbaugh was doing. More so next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We're gonna start doing a podcast for the conversations that take place in the break. You know, Steven's podcast, The Hot Mic with SSJ. This is
the sexy mic.
I don't know that that's what it would be called, Sterling. I don't think.
Well, he said the hot mic. We have to one up it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. All right, that's fine. He was going hot mic like curse words are on the podcast,
No, I think ours
cursing is allowed. Yeah.
Have we asked him if which version of hot he was going with?
You know what? I've always just assumed he was talking about they curse.
That's what assuming does.
The mic. You know what? It makes a curse word out of you and me. John Harbaugh is a New York Giant. He's the head coach. He's going to make roughly, $20 million a year for 5 years. $100 million contract for John Harbaugh.
Wow.
And he was a guy that had his choice of teams. He and Mike Tomlin would have had his choice of teams if he didn't decide to just step away from coaching. And so John Harbaugh was coveted by every single team that had an opening and some that did not. The Miami Dolphins reached out to Harbaugh before they fired Mike McDaniel. Now, I don't know that they necessarily fired Mike McDaniel because Harbaugh was available.
Sure.
And they thought, well, the only way we can get John Harbaugh is if we fire McDaniel, so let's fire him to try to get John Harbaugh. But he goes to the Giants, and the reports that happened last week when he was decompressing, taking some time away, hanging out with his family, riding with his daughter to law school, like traveling and driving her to law school and having that sort of father-daughter time. But outside of that, he was studying film on Jackson Dart and Cam Ward. So when that report came out, you're like, okay, kind of two teams he's looking at.
Sure.
Atlanta was in the mix, and I don't know how much he was studying film on Michael Penix or studying film on what he could do with Bijan and Drake London, and if they re-sign Kyle Pitts with the defense they have, can he find a quarterback to come in? Can they draft a quarterback, although they don't have a first-rounder this year because they traded back in to get Pierce, who is a really good player for them on defense, so probably worth it. But he chooses the New York Giants. And whoever takes the Raiders job knows that you're choosing Fernando Mendoza, right? That you're going to have Fernando Mendoza as your quarterback, Ashton Genty at running back, Brock Bowers at wide receiver, maybe or maybe not Max Crosby on defense. But they're probably going to hire an offensive guy to be the head coach, to coach along the QB. Not too often do you get an opportunity as a head coach candidate to pick and choose where you want to go, and to a degree, pick and choose your quarterback.
Sure.
Because if he's sitting back studying tape on Cam Ward and Jackson Dart, he's not going to take the Giants job just because it's $20 million a year if he's looking at Jackson Dart and going, this guy don't have it.
Well, I will point out, $20 million, that has to be the tops, right? That has to be the highest paid.
Well, I mean, what if the Titans are going to offer that? You know what I mean?
Sure.
What I'm saying is, would you take $18 million a year to coach a quarterback that you feel like has a better chance of winning a Super Bowl, or $20 million a year because it's the most you can get paid and you don't really believe that quarterback necessarily has it that can get you there? He's probably made a lot of money in his career. He's probably about winning Super Bowls. And so do you take a little less money? Or maybe they did just simply pencil whip him and say, here's a blank check, and it doesn't matter how good Jackson Dart is or Malik Neighbors or Cam Scattaboo or anybody else, Andrew Thomas, anybody that we have on this team, the defenders, defensive players, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns. Doesn't matter all of those key pieces we have. Just write yourself a check, and you can be the coach, and I don't really believe that. I think John Harbaugh, it's probably the best match of a team that was going to pay him what he probably felt his value. And he probably looked at it and said, this is the best quarterback situation that I can go to with somebody that I don't feel like I got to say, go. My issue with him is going to be, hey, whoa, don't take on the linebacker or the safety. I know you're a dog out there. I know you want to win more than anything. I can see it the way you play. As opposed to, man, I just got to get this guy to care more. Or can I do this? Or did he really give it his all on this play? You don't have to worry about that with Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I think it's a good call. And look at the contracts. I just wanted to see if that was the highest. It's, at least according to Sportico,
Sportico, this looks like it's going to be tied with Andy Reid for the highest in the NFL. Andy Reid, $20 million a year. Sean Payton, 18. Harbaugh was at 17. Mike Tomlin was at 16. Then Jim Harbaugh's at 16. And then you get down to McVay, 15. Sirianni, 15. And a lot of veterans. So, So, the number 10 is Kevin O'Connell at 13. So, I mean, from 1 to 10, pretty big drop-off.
Well, and I think John Harbaugh, anybody that was reaching out to John Harbaugh probably knew what the starting point was.
And it's
probably going to be, if he's on the open market, probably going to be Andy Reid, or who's 18?
Sean Payton.
Andy Reid, Sean Payton, maybe between there. But you can say if you're John Harbaugh, like, I've got a Super Bowl more recently than Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I mean, I got Sean Payton's won a Super Bowl, but I got one more recently than him. So, you know,
still not recent.
It ain't recent.
Giants, wouldn't you be like, oh man, we need this coach. We'll give him $23 million a year.
Well, I think if he was saying, you know what, if he didn't believe in Jackson Dart, like if Jackson Dart wasn't a Giant and it was like Russell Wilson or, you know, Jameis Winston, and it's like, yeah, we want you to be the coach. We'll go and find the quarterback or whatever. Although sitting at number 5, you know, then they would need to find the quarterback or maybe trade up or trade the number 5 pick for somebody else. Maybe they trade a bunch of picks to the Bengals to get Joe Burrow. And it's like, well, the Bengals have to start over. But whatever. Just scenarios. I think at that point the Giants would have to overpay John Harbaugh for him to choose. There's a reason why the teams he was looking at were the teams with the best quarterback situation. He's not a dummy. He knows what wins in the NFL, and that's having the quarterback. And I think the Giants, while having some issues along the way, have a pretty good a pretty good cast of players that you should be able to have a foundation with. You've got a left tackle. You've got what you feel like is a quarterback. You've got a stud receiver in Malik Neighbors. You've got a running back that is tough as nails. You've got defensive ends.
He might eat nails.
He might actually for breakfast. You know, he eat pieces of nails for breakfast. You've got defensive ends and Abdul Carter and Brian Burns that are difference makers. Like, you've got some key pieces to build your team around. And you've got the number 5 pick in the draft. And you've got the number 36 pick in the draft. So you've got 2 top 40 picks with those pieces in place and somebody you feel like is a quarterback that you can get behind, that you can go and play with and say, rookie year, I saw enough from him that I know what a quarterback that's going to be a leader and not back away or shy away from anything, that's this guy, and I'll get the offense set around him, and we're going to go win football games. Oh, and I'll take my $20 million a year while we're doing it. So, I mean, he chose – the money's part of it, but he chose the quarterback.
I do think NFC East probably, I know not this year, but maybe going forward would be a little more difficult than the AFC South. We'll see if Jacksonville stays. Texans, obviously, we'll see what the Colts do with Daniel Jones and if they bounce back, but – you look at the NFC East, the Eagles will be there. Dallas, I think, is going back all in. I know they finished the year at 7-9-1, but I feel like going forward, you would imagine they're better than that. Obviously, Washington, when they get Jaden Daniels back, that was the main storyline this year, was Jaden Daniels was really never healthy. So I think both, if you look at the conferences, they're both, I think going forward, NFC East might be slightly tougher. But again, the point differential, which take that as you will, of the Giants is not that of a 4-13 team. There is some talent on that roster. They were minus 58. That was better than that's 140 points better than the Tennessee's point differential. That's better than Cincinnati's. That was better than the 7-10 Miami Dolphins by 19 points. Better than the Carolina Panthers, who went 8-9. I mean, you look at the Giants team, and they might not be that far off from a 500 team, right? Pretty close to that with Harbaugh there next year. So I think you can look at a quick turnaround, and you're right. Maybe it is a better spot. I think Atlanta made a lot of sense, but if you're not enamored by Michael Penix Jr. and you're not getting a quarterback necessarily that you believe in,
you don't have a first rounder.
You're sitting back going, all right, well, I think the best opportunity to turn around quick with a quarterback I believe in, if it is Cam Ward and the Titans versus Jackson Dart and the Giants, I think the Giants are closer. Let me go to the Giants.
I wonder, too, looking back, if 2013, so from 2012 to 2013, that offseason, if there was a team out there in the NFL that had a job opening and had a plug-and-play quarterback that you're like, I like this guy already, is Andy Reid the head coach of the Chiefs? or the two teams he was looking at and sort of choosing between, the Chiefs and the Cardinals, both were without a quarterback. Because both those teams spent the offseason with their new coach trading for a quarterback. Andy Reid traded for Alex Smith, and Bruce Arians traded for Carson Palmer from the Raiders.
Yeah.
So both those guys went out and traded for quarterbacks. But there wasn't a sort of young, nice quarterback with the Cardinals that Andy Reid's like, I want to coach that guy. That's going to be fun coaching that guy. And Clark Hunt's like, no, I'm not going to let you get on the plane. Don't get on the plane. You're not going to get on the plane and go to Arizona. It's not going to happen. Look,
Like Andrew Luck, who would have been young at that point.
it's a good question. Like, I don't know. But, you know, when did Stafford come out? Like, I don't even.
I think before then. He would have been like 08.
Yeah, so if it was like, okay, well, you know, Matt Stafford was a.
Andrew Luck would have been young because he was 2012.
Yeah.
This is his first year. So you could say maybe Andrew Luck.
So the Cardinals took Andrew Luck in 2012, and it didn't work out, and they just went ahead and fired their coach. Ken Wisenhunt, sorry, you're gone. Whoever. But you've got second-year Andrew Luck. I don't think Andy Reid takes the Chiefs' job. And that's sort of what John Harbaugh's doing is, if you're sitting there and some of these other teams are like, man, we had a chance to go get John Harbaugh. But you didn't have the quarterback in place or a pick that could get the quarterback. Where the Chiefs and the Cardinals, neither of those teams had the quarterback. Both of them had to trade for a quarterback. So it was kind of equal footing, only Arizona Cardinals history or the Hunt family's history, which has made the difference for Andy Reid. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Coming up an hour from now, we'll play some sports or leisure. Get ready for that. $25 to Johnny's Tavern will be given away.
Fact.
78%. Talking about John Harbaugh there in the previous segment. So going back to the question that we asked in the first hour that we didn't answer because we just threw it out there to then discuss. Is there something to learn, to take away, to glean from the development, the situation in Pittsburgh and Baltimore with the longest tenured coaches in Tomlin and Harbaugh, that eventually it was just time? Is there an impact in any way, shape, or form in Kansas City with Andy Reid and the Chiefs moving forward? So that's the question. And I said, here's the question. The answer might be a simple no. It may not be as simple as that when you start to get into all the details of what no means, but it could be, no, there isn't an impact. Okay, so what are the reasons? So I don't come away with just a blanket, no, there's no connection, impact whatsoever with the development there. My takeaway from it is I don't think Clark Hunt and, well, I say Brett Veach, but we know Brett Veach isn't firing Andy Reid. If Andy Reid gets fired, it's because Clark Hunt is ready to make a move, which I don't think Clark Hunt is ever going to do that. Andy Reid is going to step down and be done coaching whenever he decides to be done coaching with the Kansas City Chiefs. And there's an element of, at least for a number of years, he's earned that. But I do think there is a lesson in that no matter how successful you feel it's going and how consistently near the top of a conference you are, it does just run its course from time to time.
Yeah.
And it's not that Andy Reid and the Chiefs are there right now. I don't think they're close to being there right now. I don't think, like, even when people are saying, well, you have another year without making the playoffs, then you can start talking about Andy Reid and being fired. My pushback is, okay, so if you have another year of not making the playoffs, well, then you can start to discussing how many more years of this before Andy Reid decides I'm going to step down, or Clark Hunt says maybe it's time just to move on. It could be Andy Reid himself going, I'm not going to another team and starting over. All right, I've been doing this that long. The Chiefs are my final destination to coach, and it ain't working. It's not working. And in Philly, it wasn't working, and we knew it was time for a split, and maybe it's just time for me to step away. I think Andy would come to the realization he might be too stubborn to walk away because he just wants to keep coaching, and that's what he does.
He loves football. Yeah.
Right, football guy. But I think he would come to the realization before he would ever be forced out by Clark Hunt to say, you're going to step away or we're going to fire you. I just don't see that happening. But it doesn't mean that it can't get stale pretty quickly from where you thought you were. We aren't far removed, Sterling, real quick, from John Harbaugh hosting the AFC Championship game and being 3.5-point favorites over the Chiefs in 2023. That was the year of our Lord, 2024. And they were hosting that game to go to the Super Bowl with MVP Lamar Jackson. With MVP Lamar Jackson to win the Lamar Hunt Trophy. 2 years removed, he's fired. He's out. It can happen that quickly. It's just been a while since he's won a Super Bowl, and the Chiefs are still the reigning AFC champions.
To me, if it's a little nuanced here, but let's say if Andy misses the playoffs, the Chiefs miss the playoffs, and Patrick Mahomes plays, 14-plus games. Let's just say he misses the first 3 years.
And the offense is stale.
And the offense is stale. They miss the playoffs this year. I think you have a serious conversation about, hey, what are you going to do to change this? Or if you run it back, we might have to move on. We're not going to waste Patrick's prime, because I think the issue with a lot of these teams, not all of them, but some of these teams, you don't have the quarterback. There's no, like, Tomlin didn't have a quarterback since Big Ben, and even that, you can make a case of
it was the bones of Big
Ben towards the end, right? And how much it was down on him, who knows how much they have as far as say in who they draft. Like, was he the guy that was like, I want Kenny Pickett, that's our guy? Or was he anti-Kenny Pickett? Did he care? Who knows? Harbaugh had Lamar, and you're going to be a little more testy in regards to if you're the owner, the GM of, hey, if you're not winning with Lamar, we have the quarterback for you. If you waste his prime, you don't have an excuse. It makes it harder. You're going to be a little more rash when you have Patrick Mahomes. You don't want to wait because you have the quarterback. You have the guy. So that means you're going to be able to you're going to have a quicker trigger as far as moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not there yet. If you say fire Andy now, I think we might not be great friends. I'll put it that way. Maybe we are, and I don't know it, but I feel like you are glossing over 3 Super Bowls that have been brought to KC, and again, the fact that they've gone to 3 straight Super Bowls prior to this season. But again, you missed the playoffs yet again next year, and Patrick is healthy for, again, 13, 14-plus games. I think you start to have a serious conversation. Now, if you make the playoffs and say you get bounced first round, but the offense looks better overall, but you have a bad playoff game, I can take that. I can say, you know what, the offense looked better. It was a bad game. That happens. That happens in the playoffs. That happens for teams. It hasn't happened in KC very, very much because they've been going to AFC Championship games for 7 straight years prior to this. But I can take that. And I would still say, okay, Andy revamped the offense. It was just a bad game. That happens. To me, the only way we have this conversation of legit separation from Andy and the Chiefs is if basically this year,
if Mahomes is healthy and they miss the playoffs again.
If this year is just a carbon copy of next year, at that point I think we have this serious conversation of
what's going on, how do you move on?
Yeah,
you have to advance in what's going on in the NFL right now. I would say, though, depending on what happens in the offseason this year, so let's say the scenario is they make the playoffs and they lose in the first round. Depending on what happens this offseason, is this an offseason where Brett Veach, Andy Reid, Clark Hunt, they come together and they say, what's realistic in 2026? Salary cap, free agency, draft, what's realistic there? And I think there's a possibility of this is certainly one of the scenarios. I don't think it will be the scenario, personally. Whether you think it should or should not is a different story. There's one scenario where they say, here's the offseason before 2026. This is a restructure offseason. And I don't mean a restructure as in like we're going to redo personnel. It's we're going to get right with the salary cap. We're eating everything on Chris Jones. We're not going to touch Trey Smith's contract, Creed Humphrey's contract, George Karlaftis' contract, Nick Bolton's contract. We're not going to take a whole lot from Patrick Mahomes' contract.
You'll have to do it just to get cap compliant.
To a degree, but we're not just going to destroy everything so we can be $50 or $60 million under the cap, kick everything down the road for 2026. This might be a year to where we said, hey, we went in to try to win a three-peat. We did it. It didn't happen. We then made the decision, 3 straight Super Bowls, we can go to 4 straight, so we're going to make some decisions here. And it hasn't worked this year. Well, the contracts start to kick in with guys that you backloaded when you signed a Nick Bolton or a Trey Smith or guys like that. If their decision is what the Royals did, different circumstances, but what the Royals did between 2022 and 2023 with J.J. Piccolo, and they said, why would we spend money when we don't even know what we need? We're not going to spend money for spending money. This is going to be an evaluation year, which sucked.
Yeah.
Now, the Royals did not have a 30-year-old Patrick Mahomes playing quarterback in a quote-unquote evaluation year. It was a young Bobby Witt.
It worked in the long run.
Yes. They figured out what they had or did not have. Then they spent money. And they made the playoffs, won a playoff series in the wild card, won a game in Yankee Stadium, returned the next year. Wasn't as successful, but back-to-back winning seasons.
Yeah.
Above 500. And if the Chiefs take the approach this offseason and say, this is a time to where, do we want to have a down year with 30-year-old Patrick Mahomes? No. But do we want to have a down year with 32 and 33 and 34-year-old Patrick Mahomes because we keep doing the same thing over and over? Maybe this is the time that we take the medicine, we leave the contracts as they are, and we rebuild in the draft. We trade some pieces, trade McDuffie, move some other pieces if you have to, build in the draft, and we are going to be set up for 2027. If that's the case and they make the playoffs and lose, then I think it's a little bit of a different story in a scenario of, okay, so now they lost in the Super Bowl, missed the playoffs, lost in the first round. This is heading in the wrong direction if you're gearing up for 27. My issue with that is you never know what year is going to bite you with injuries or this or that to where you can't say 2026, this is the year that punting is not the right word because you can still reassess and restructure without punting. You can still go out there and try to win games because we didn't think 2023 they were good enough to go to a Super Bowl and win, and they did. So you can do some of those things, but I think it will change the conversation around Andy Reid if that's the case. Then it certainly would put the heat on Brett Veach of people going, really, you just wasted a 30-year-old Patrick Mahomes.
I think, to me,
which is why I don't think that'll be the scenario that they choose.
You just want to do what you did in 2022. That's what has to happen. That is really your
beat the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. Agreed.
Well, no.
Trade Tyreek Hill.
Trade that's the Trent McDuffie, but you mentioned it. That was a little bit of a retooling, and I think I'll
retool you.
I think at first a lot of people thought that this was a not tank, but you're not going all the way in. This is you're testing the waters of the in between of we'll see what we have. We're going younger, we're going a little cheaper, but we have Patrick. Let's see what happens. Well, they got it right in the draft.
Yeah, they did.
And when you got it right in the draft, it made that completely worth it.
And you got Patrick Mahomes still.
You got Trent McDuffie, you got George Karlaftis, you had Isaiah Pacheco, and you had Jalen Watson. You had 4 guys who, as rookies, made an impact, right? Oh, and then you throw in, Leo and Josh Williams had a little bit of a factor, and Brian Cook. The guy that really didn't was your second rounder in Sky Moore. But overall, that draft was just a massive success. And so you were able to get cheaper, younger, faster, quicker, hungrier, and also save money against some of the veteran guys.
Instead of Tyreek Hill's salary cap or cap number, you can roll that over to Chris Jones and then the draft picks.
But
that was the choice.
I do wonder if 2022 is unrealistic because they got it almost all right.
They have a better opportunity of getting it right when you're picking 9 and 40.
Correct.
As opposed to 31 or 30 and whatever the Dolphins pick was.
I'm not trying to dismiss it because everyone always goes, that Sky Moore pick, but you got McDuffie, Karlaftis, Brian Cook, Leo Chanel, Joshua Williams, Darian Kennard, Jalen Watson, and Isaiah Pacheco, and then Najee Johnson, who was a contributor.
Rounder, but yeah, you took 2 7th-round defensive backs and 1 turned into Jalen Watson. That
is an absolutely absurd draft class.
100%.
But since 2022, it has been a struggle, and so
hopefully this draft class is different with health. If Omar Norman Lott returns and you go, okay, this is what they were looking for in the second round as a pass rushing 3 technique. They found their left tackle in Josh Simmons.
Let's hope he stays healthy.
Ashton Gelati is their Mike Dana, and they don't have to pay for Mike Dana because Ashton Gelati turned into that guy.
Sure. But this is what you need is if you want to do what 2021 to 2022 was, you've done it before. And that's a little bit, I think, of what you're alluding to is, hey, let's not kick the can down the road. Let's redo this thing. But then that puts such an emphasis on the draft, and you can't have a draft like you had in 23 and 24.
Yeah, and to me, that's why I think the Chiefs should. I don't know that the Chiefs will explore trading Trent McDuffie, quite frankly. I hope they do. I hope they explore it. They better. But not only explore it, I think they should move him. And I'm at the point to where there's a level of OBO. Like, this is what we demand or best offer. I'm not saying we're going to settle for or best offer. I'm saying this is what we demand. And if other teams come in with different types of trade packages, we can choose what we think is the best one. Maybe not what we were originally demanding or thinking he was worth. But then you turn that down. You play 1 year on the 5th-year option. Also, he'd have to be okay with playing the 1 year on the 5th-year option instead of holding out. That's $13 million. You would pay him. By trading him, you also save the $13 million against the cap immediately. that year, and you pick up the draft picks, because having, I mean, we always do this. I love Trent McDuffie. I think Trent McDuffie is a dynamite football player. But if you are not going to utilize him as his best skill set, then what's the point? It's like having Chris Jones always play defensive end.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's good if he goes out there. He can do that and then rush from the interior. He's got that versatility that makes him great. Or you say, no, he's just going to play defensive end. He's just a defensive end, and that's all he is a defensive end. Man, he's a pretty big defensive end. Doesn't really want to set the edge all that much. Seems like maybe a defensive end if you want to go like a NASCAR package, and he can take advantage of different tackles that, on the edge, and you can bring somebody else to rush. I feel like that's a better way of going about it. No, just defensive end. Trent McDuffie's just an outside corner. Really? Because I feel like maybe you can put him outside from time to time, but he's like, an all-pro slot cornerback and does so many different things and stops the run and blitzes and, eliminates guys in that particular spot. Like, I feel like that's his best attribute to put him there. Like, but what if we had him on the outside at all times? Okay, he's a good cornerback. He's just not an all-pro / Pro Bowl cornerback if he's a constant outside corner, because not his fault, but a CeeDee Lamb, a George Pickens, a Nico Collins, a Cortland Sutton, A.J. Brown, those are the players that he struggles against. And that's unfortunate, but that's simply the case because of the size, which makes him, pretty good slot corner from that standpoint. But you're going to pay him as an outside corner and have him play that spot, which isn't necessarily his best spot. It's like Chris Jones and what he makes as a defensive tackle, or Myles Garrett signed for $40 million. It's like paying Chris Jones Myles Garrett money and saying, yeah, we're going to pay you Myles Garrett money, and we're going to play you defensive end constantly, even though the best usage of you is as a defensive tackle, and then move you to defensive end from time to time. That's what it feels like with Trent McDuffie. Could Chris Jones be a good defensive end if he played defensive ends constantly? Yeah, I think he'd be a pretty damn good defensive end because he's a hell of a football player. He's a pro. He's a Hall of Famer. He could be a pretty good defensive end if that was his position at all times. But it doesn't make sense to have him out there. Yet in the mind of the Chiefs, it makes sense to have McDuffie on the outside if they re-sign him or extend him, paid as a top outside corner when he is lesser than out there than the dominant shutdown all-pro player as a slot corner.
Best slot corner in the game and probably a top 20 outside corner, maybe top 15, but probably top 20. I'm
that will want top 5 money.
I'm confident saying he's a top 20, but probably top 15-ish outside corner.
Even if he's top 10, you're still paying him top 5, top $1 or $2 or $3 for an outside corner whose best skill is as a slot corner.
Yeah, and so when we talk McDuffie, it's not like we're saying he's a bad outside corner by any means. He's still great. It's just he is the elite best slot corner in football. Especially this year, the frustration I think that we saw was Jalen Watson be a really damn good outside corner. We saw Noah Williams blossom into a damn good outside corner. We saw Christian Fulton in limited action, but at the end of the year look like a really solid outside corner. So you had 3 options really all year long, and maybe if you want to say Fulton and Noah Williams weren't ready early, that's fine. I acquiesce. I'll give you that. By about week 7, week 8, you saw at least that Noah Williams was a good outside corner. Your best setup should have been Trent McDuffie in the slot and those 2 guys on the outside.
Yep.
Well, we never saw that, and I wonder how much of that was McDuffie. Was it his agent? Was it McDuffie saying, hey, man, you're playing me on the outside. I'm an outside corner. I want to be paid like an outside corner. L'Jarius Sneed, I always wondered how that was going to go down in offseason talks because they used him a lot in the slot early on.
Until his final year.
Until his final year.
4th year, they used him as an outside corner.
And he was really good on the outside, but he had a little bit of those knee injuries.
And then they got a 3rd rounder for him. High 3rd rounder for him. Did they move McDuffie to the outside so that they could get the best value for him?
And so I wondered that because if you're going to trade him, you want him on the outside. That's more value there. So I do wonder how much behind the scenes was going on because it's never as simple as it should be, but it's not. We all know how human nature is and how football is, and I'm an outside guy. We heard Orlando Brown Jr. say he wants to make his dad proud playing left tackle.
Yeah,
no, it's because you want the money.
No, the only reason is because his dad.
The only reason. No, it's because you want the money.
Why didn't you play left tackle in Baltimore? Oh, yeah, there was a left tackle already, so he played right tackle.
And so these are things that go on behind the scenes. I have no idea. McDuffie seems like the ultimate team player. Seems like he would do whatever was asked of him. But you have no idea what is going on. You have no idea because him being an outside corner almost predominantly this year, you saw, again, some of the deficiencies. Again, still a damn good outside corner, but not top 3 outside corner money, especially when you see the Chiefs and what they've done developing, identifying, and drafting just cornerbacks in general. And would you find the money better suited for 30 mil on the defensive line or 30 mil in the secondary? Because I can tell you, they've found 7th rounders who can be useful pieces. They can't find most 1st rounders or 2nd rounders to be useful pieces on the D-line. You got to bring in the finished product in the D-line and identify, draft, as long as Dave Merritt and Spags are still there, at least. Because that secondary, I have no issues with going cheaper with.
Yeah, the Chiefs, what annoys me about Noel Williams and his usage this year is this whole idea of, well, playing for Spags, it takes a long time to figure that out, you know. It's the conversation we got in with Daniel Holmes yesterday about the Houston Texans are the least diverse team in the NFL. They line up with their 11 and they say, you know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. We're going to be the most detailed team at what we do, and we're going to play fast and kick your ass. Like, the Chiefs are 99% in diversity in their scheme. The Houston Texans are 4%. The next closest is like 13%. It's like the Houston Texans are like, we don't care. This is what we're doing, and we're still going to go out and kick your ass. It's personnel. It's all of those things where the Chiefs don't have. But this reputational sort of label on Spagnuolo that the defensive scheme is so higher degree that it takes the rookies a long time to figure it out, and you just can't have that person out there. It annoys me about Noel Williams because in 2022, like you're talking about, Trent McDuffie started week 1. Then he got hurt. Then Rashad Fenton started. Then by the time Trent McDuffie came back, Jalen Watson was starting. So Jalen Watson was a 7th rounder in 2022 that was a starting cornerback opposite L'Jarius Sneed by week 7. Noel Williams couldn't be a starter this year until late in the season when you had to, and then, oh my God, he looked pretty good. So what's the difference between that and this? Well, that year, he didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
They went younger. They had the younger guys in McDuffie and Williams and Watson and Nazi. You got Sneed and you got Fenton, and that's it. Now you got a first rounder McDuffie. You don't have a choice, Spags, but to play these guys. And they did play them. They won a Super Bowl. You had a choice this year. You got Watson. You signed Christian Fulton. You got McDuffie. You got CRW to play the slot. Shamari Connor to line up at slot, but not play the slot. You got Shamari Connor to be a bullseye. Might as well change the 27 to a bullseye on his chest when he played the slot.
I still feel so bad. It's not his fault because he's a fine safety. He's a fine, good
and they
safety.
can.
It's not your fault, Shamari.
It's not his fault.
It's not. I will be a Shamari Connor supporter because
that's fine.
They use him wrong.
That's fine. But why is Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie and Joshua Williams, are they just smarter than Noel Williams? Noel Williams just can't get it. He couldn't figure it out. They're just smarter than. Now, I know that Dave Merritt said, keep swimming with Noel Williams. Year number 2 for Jalen Watson and Josh Williams, Dave Merritt was complaining about what he was getting from those guys.
Yeah, we still saw good production overall.
So how did year 1 get those guys on the field? I know, because Spags didn't have a choice but to put them out there. Now, they had 57 sacks that year.
Yeah, that did help.
So maybe that makes a difference as opposed. Was that 22 or 23? I think that was 23 that they had 57 sacks because the last 2 years combined they've had 74. So I think it was 23. I'd have to go back and look at.
It was against the
last
Eagles
2
in the
years
first
combined,
Super Bowl.
That they had 57 sacks?
It was that season.
Well, that was 22. So then.
Let me look.
I thought it was a couple of years ago.
I can give you a quick little.
I remember because Charles
No,
Omenihu
2023
was
they
not
had
on
2023
that
they
team.
had 57 sacks.
Oh, it was?
2023 they had 57 sacks. And
They
then
had 57 sacks. Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Yep, and then since then they have combined for 74 in the 2 years.
And Minahu had 7.
That was when Minahu was actually pretty good when he came back, when he started with the suspension. It was like, okay.
George and Chris both had 10.5. Drew Tranquil had 4.5. Mike Dana had 6.5.
Oh, yeah, and Dana got himself a
McDuffie
contract.
and Reed and Leo, all 3 had 3.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Watson had a couple. Malik Herring had 1.5. Turk had 2. Yeah, that was.
So hold on, he was blitzing rookies too? So the rookies knew when to blitz and how to blitz and when to go in there and play different types of the defenses? Well, that's weird. Apparently Noel Williams is a dunce.
You smart ass.
or I actually didn't know all the different sack numbers there. I just knew they had 57 because I brought it up with Cynthia and said, why 57 in 2023? They were second in pressures and second in sacks, yet 2024 they're fifth in pressures and 18th in sacks, and this last year they're 15th in pressure and 25th in sacks. The pressures aren't amounting to sacks, blah, 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 noise, all of that stuff. I asked her about that yesterday, so I know I looked it up, and that's how I knew the exact number of 57 and then 74 since then, but I didn't know how it was dispersed. But it's interesting that you've got some rookies there. Leo Chanel, such a tough system. How can anybody figure that out? Trent McDuffie, a tough system. How could anybody figure that out? Jalen Watson, I mean, good God, 7th rounder, no way he could figure out Spag's system. Yet they did. But Noel Williams can't figure it out until he was put into position and he went out there and balled out. That's an issue that I think should be a real. If I'm Andy Reid and I'm the head coach and not just the offensive coach, I'm the head coach and I know I'm the head coach. Spags, you're the head coach of the defense. But when you're doing these exit interviews with the players, there should probably be some exit interviews with the coaches as to, okay, why did Noel Williams not get on the field all year? And then when he did, he was damn good. Why? Why were we playing Shamari Connor in the slot, Steve, and not McDuffie with Noel Williams on the outside? Why did I trade for Joshua Uche last year for you, and we don't have a 6th rounder this year in the draft that you didn't play? Why did I draft Noel in the 3rd round that you were stoked about and then didn't play him until late in the season? Why? Yet you played rookies in 2022. So I do have an issue with but you just can't figure out Spag's system. Then change it.
No, don't touch it. Don't touch the Spag system because they were phenomenal defensively this year still.
Were they?
They couldn't 4 in the AFC.
Cool. What were they in the 4th quarter when you can win games? They got torched. Every game they got torched. They didn't have one stop with the lead that resulted in a win. They blew 5 leads this year in the 4th quarter. They were the only defense in the NFL without a save.
The defensive
only
line
defense.
being trash did not help that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think your anger and ire is.
I think you guys didn't watch the games.
I watched every game, every minute, every second.
So so late in the games,
you're not going to be perfect. You're not pitching a shutout every single game. It's in the Houston Texans,
right? So late in the games when they needed a stop or needed a score, we're okay saying the offense sucked and they couldn't get scores when they needed to.
The offense sucked all game.
But we're fine with saying, well, the defense couldn't get a stop, therefore it's an excuse.
No, I think at times they were gassed because the offense was so buns.
I wouldn't say the defense
point,
was elite. I would not use the word elite.
They were. Yeah, you're right.
I wouldn't say great.
I wouldn't say
I'd
elite.
say they were probably average.
I think they were a top 10 defense this year.
I think your top 10 defense, if there were 15 teams, they were top 10 defense.
I think you can cherry pick certain things they did do well and things that they didn't do well.
Yes.
And it just so happens that the whole team was not good this year, and it just so happens they had 4 or 5 games where they couldn't finish.
They were a top 10 defense with a bottom 3, maybe bottom 1 defensive line. I don't change the Spag system. Don't throw.
I'm not saying change the Spag system, but what's the change this year as opposed to 2022? Did he change the system in 2022? Because they won a Super Bowl. Did he change the system in 23 when they had 57 sacks?
22, the offense was elite.
It was great.
It was the best offense in football.
Right.
That
So
was
therefore, the
difference in
defense
22.
didn't have to be amazing. The offense wasn't all that good, and the defense wasn't as good as it's been in 23 and 24. But yet the offense is the issue.
The offense is completely the issue. The offense was.
Well, why isn't the defense taking a step back the issue?
I don't think they took a step back. I think they were fine this year. I think they were good this year. They were top 10.
The pass rush is the issue.
Yes, the pass.
Which I guess
they
they
don't
are
have the
part of
horses.
the defense,
They don't
but-
have the horses. They don't have the guys. That to me, that's the conversation I have is they don't have the guys in the defensive line.
I don't know. It would have been nice to get a stop against the Jags.
And we can talk about whose fault
It would have
that
been
is.
nice to get a stop against the Chargers.
I'm not saying they were great.
It would have been nice to get a stop against the
Not
Bills.
saying they were elite.
It would have been nice to get a stop against the Broncos. It would have been nice to get a stop against the Cowboys. It would have been nice to get a stop against any of those teams defensively in the fourth quarter that they didn't. But offensively, they don't score in a couple of games, and it's, well, the offense is the issue. Yet the defense could not lock down a win. Why?
Dude, they scored 35 fewer points than the Steelers this year.
They what?
The Chiefs scored 35.
Scored offensively?
Yes, they were so bad offensively.
I'm aware. But they
I-
scored 28 against the Jags and lost.
But they
It's
also,
an
you know,
odd game.
They scored 28 against the Cowboys and lost. Why?
That's a
Because they
game.
gave up 30 in both.
They stopped the Colts. They held the Eagles to, what was it, 17 or 20?
20 points.
You can pick games where the defense
Yes.
showed up. I think the bigger issue is the pass rush. And we can have a conversation about whose fault
Okay, well,
is it that...
it's back-to-back years that the pass rush has sucked.
Yes.
That's
So-
the one part that needs to be changed.
Right.
Because they don't have the horse. Again,
Okay.
I don't think they have the guys.
Okay. So the Spags system is so good that rookies can't figure it out until rookies are forced to play and they can figure it out.
No, my point is, where's Amenahu going to go?
Hopefully somewhere else.
No, is he even going to play? Like who's giving him? It's 1 year, $2 million.
Then why did Spags say sign him?
Mike Dana.
If Brett Veach was going to sign a Minahu and Spags thought he sucked, then
Sure.
don't bring him back.
And you're right
What
on
about
that.
Jerry Tillery?
I don't
I can do
argue
this
that.
with Jerry. Get him out of there. Why do the Chiefs not have a sixth rounder this year for a guy who played 6 snaps in Joshua Uche when Spags didn't want to play him? I love Spags, and I want Spags to remain the defensive coordinator. I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking for him to be fired. What I'm asking is why the credit going to the defense in years past when they made stops and the offense was struggling, and the credit being ignored with the defense this year when they couldn't get stops, when the offense had games when they went out and put up 28 points against the Jags on the road and the Cowboys on the road, and the defense couldn't get stops. It's the offense's fault. But it was the offense's fault in years past when they weren't playing well, but the defense stepped up and made plays, so they got the credit. So Spags gets the credit and is absolved of any blame when they give up lead after lead after lead after lead in the fourth quarter. They give up the most yards on 3rd and long this year.
Yeah, 3rd and long was an issue
Right. Then that's why.
because the
Is
pass
that-
rush sucks.
But is that pass? Is it okay? Then you need to do something else. You know you've been bad on 3rd and long all year. They know you've been
Sure.
bad. So what are you doing?
I don't
I'm
know
not
what-
asking him
Yeah.
to be fired. What I'm asking is, why is it that we say rookies can't play until they're forced to play and they look damn good doing it?
Sure.
So that's the question. And that's the question from Brett Veach and Andy Reid to Spags of, is it the system? Is it the players? Is it a stubbornness? Is it a comfort with Shamari Connor at the slot as opposed to Noel Williams on the outside and Trent McDuffie in the slot? And if that's the case, is comfort worth more than actual production?
Sure.
Because with Spags, it seems to be. Sorensen over Thornhill. It was comfort over production.
Anthony Hitchens for
Right.
Well, that's also more Bob Sutton, more
Yeah,
probably.
But I mean, you still brought him in.
Yeah.
He was still on the team 19, 20, and 21. It wasn't until they went and made the
I was trying to figure out the crossover of when that would have
so
been.
21 to 22 is when they made the change from slow, old, and missing tackles to fast, young, and aggressive.
Yeah.
Reed, Cook, Chanel, Karloftis. It was like, all right, they're not missing tackles. They're coming out, and McDuffie, Watson, guys that were like, oh, these guys are going to come up and hit you, even at cornerback. So it was 21 to 22 when the Bengals did what they did in the second half, and it was like, you keep missing tackles, you're slow, you're not getting there. You need a change here. I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with it other than I think there's a level of frustration that should be there for the defense this year not getting stops when they needed to because we've thrown flowers at the defense the last couple of years for getting stops when Patrick Mahomes has said, well, the offense couldn't get a score and the defense bailed us out. The offense couldn't get a score and the defense bailed us out. The frustration is it's 3 years in a row for the offense that they're not getting scores, This year, the defense didn't bail him out. So I understand that. And that's why it's easy to go into the offseason and say it's the offense, it's the offense, it's the offense. But there's also choices that were made with Minihue and Tillery and not playing Noel Williams, not signing Christian Fulton and not playing him, signing Nick Bolton, letting Justin Reed walk, and then Jaden Hicks not playing. These were all choices that were made that the defensive coordinator, as the, quote, head coach of the defense, was a big part of, too. There's questions as to why those things took place. And Mike saying what should take place is a freaking break. More is up next.
We're taking a break, but there's never a break on FanDuel because FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Each game day during the divisional round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. More boosts means more ways to level up your playoff bets. Pick the matchups that you believe in or take a shot on an upset. Or go ahead, build a parlay that fits the moment. You know, I've talked about the Bills beating the Broncos. Bills now underdogs. Give me the Bills on the road. I think the 49ers-Seahawks game is interesting. Line at 7. Seahawks coming off of a bye. I like the Niners to cover. I don't think they win. The injuries they have sustained have been astronomical, but I think they come out a little quick. Seahawks off of a bye might be a little sluggish, and the Niners have something to prove with George Kittle getting injured. Do it for George. So give me the Niners to at least cover that current 7-point spread. So what you can do is do them individually or put those two together or fade me. That might be your best bet, and apply your profit boost and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs keep rolling. So visit FanDuel.com/local and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. That was a fun conversation. I enjoyed it. You guys were wrong, but it was fun. Just joking. There was no right or wrong, okay?
No, we were right, but
There is only do. There is no try. There is only do, Yoda. Let's hear from Jameis Winston. This was fun listening to him on the New Heights podcast, and I wish the Chiefs had the foresight of giving the contract to Jameis Winston last offseason rather than Gardner Minshew and signing him to a 2-year deal. And maybe that's why they didn't do it, is because the Giants gave Jameis a 2-year contract and the Chiefs were looking for 1-year deals for, Gardner Minshew. But, man, having Jameis would be so much fun. I want to play this clip. This is clip number 2. Some of these clips are a little longer with his stories that he's telling because, man, just the press conferences would be amazing. But there's a couple of things in here that I think would be amazing as a backup quarterback. So we talk about offensive coordinators, and we've talked this year about Andy Reid and the system. And there was the film, video, YouTube breakdown of somebody complaining that 4 weeks in a row, Andy Reid, same situation, 4 straight games, ran the same play in 4 weeks in a row. The complaint included, by the way, them being successful the first 3. But he just keeps doing this over and over. And my response was, there are some complaints that you might have about Andy Reid's system. Continually going to a play that works shouldn't be one of them. So here's Jameis Winston talking about he's had like 8 offensive coordinators in his life, and, offensive coordinators that are in their bag, or you feel like, this is a sort of an issue here. But here's Jameis talking about some OCs and what he sees from them, what he would like to see from them, and certain things as a quarterback that's been there, done that.
I always, when I talk to, offensive coordinators, why do you see the McVays and people like that literally run the Andy Reids, that run the same play over and over again if the defense can't stop it?
Yeah.
And then you have guys where it's like, hey, well, we already showed that, so did it work? did that play just work?
Yeah.
So we're saying in this one game, this is the only time we get to run this play against this team, because we know we ain't going to carry it over the next week because you're saying we already ran it once.
Yeah.
Why not run the play that's been working for us?
I hear you.
Yeah.
And I think as an offensive coordinator, I got a lot of respect for them. For them to have that much confidence in their bag, that they don't want to run the play that just worked.
I gotta ask you on the flip side though, if you ever been in the huddle and you just hear a play call and you just know man, I don't know about this one, man. There's a pretty big down right here in the game, man. I don't know. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. All right, boys, this is what we're gonna do.
Those moments have came up. But I'm a persuasive person. You got those people that they wrote they write the narratives. They write the persuasive essays. They write the derogatory essays. I'm a persuasive essay writer.
Okay.
Wow.
So when the play is getting called into me, even if it sounds like straight poo, I gotta make it sound good to everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm one of those guys. I'm a believer in I'm obsessed with it. Okay, we put in the work.
Yeah.
If the play is poo, I get it. I'll come to the sidelines and hey, please don't call that again. but if you call it, I'm going to find a way to execute this play.
You got to.
Yeah.
We don't got no other way. Yeah.
It's been numerous clips that I've seen you, Jason, have to change your protection. Oh, no way. There ain't no way we slide away from this guy right here. And it's been thousands of clips where I've seen you, Travis, know your butt supposed to have a simple sail route. And what you do, you feel zone and you just go ahead,
curl it up there, right there. You on the same page, right?
But that's what it is. It's not just capability, it's the capacity to know this is the right thing to do. I know what I'm gonna get here, so I'm capable and I got the capacity enough of the work that I put in that I'm gonna make the right decision. I'm gonna help this coach be a better coach.
I love hearing that from Jameis Winston, and it's I know the play is poo, but I'm going to translate that to the players as in this play's awesome. This is what we're doing, guys. And I do love Travis going, you ever been in a position where you're I don't know, there's a pretty big down here? Because there have been plenty of times, obviously, Travis Kelce over the years with Patrick or whoever, it was this is a play call now? All right, we'll see. And it may have worked, may not have worked. I don't know. I remember Patrick Mahomes telling a story about, down inside the goal line, and he was like, the Chargers would run zone all game. And then it was like 3rd and goal, and Andy Reid sends in a call, and it was a man beater. And Patrick was like, what are we doing? Why? They don't. And then they ran man.
Yeah.
And beat him for a touchdown. And Patrick was like, holy bleep. That was back when it was like, okay, Andy is just, running circles around some of these other defensive coordinators out there. But I love to hear that it's like, well, no, I got to make him a better coach, and why can't coordinators call a play again if it's working? Why are you so afraid of calling that? And it's like, we worked all week on this play. It's the one team in the 1 week we're going to run this play, and we run it once and it's successful, and we don't run it again because we ain't running it next week because this is in the game plan this week against this team. That's why I sort of pushed back on Andy Reid ran the same play 4 weeks in a row. And the first 3, they were successful and they picked up first downs. Why would you then throw that away? And as he said, I got some respect for a guy who's so confident in his bag that he's not going to run a play already that worked. You're so confident that all these other plays are going to work that you've ran that one and it worked. Just eliminate it because we already ran it. Let's go to all of these other ones. You know? There's a level of confidence in yourself if you're an OC and you're doing that. Let's play this quick one. This is clip number 3, and this is also where, so we heard that from Jameis Winston.
Sure.
And you can tell what type of player he is behind the scenes.
An awesome
right?
one.
Yes.
A fun one.
Fun one, yes. Here's a really good one. He talks about the year that he had with the Bucs in 2019 when it was 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, and he was out there cooking. It was no risk it, no biscuit. They went and got Tom Brady the next year, won a Super Bowl, but he was out there doing his thing. But he talks about off the field was affecting week by week on the field. Like nobody knew what Jameis Winston's personal life was, how that impacted that particular year. And I think this is an interesting one for a sort of local storyline. Let's take a listen to Jameis Winston on advice he gives to young players.
Spiritually of the family, like we just were going through it, and I was having a great game or I was having, a not so great game. And it was coincided with what was happening off the field. And that's why when I talk to these young athletes, I ask them, what are you consistently doing outside of the building too? Because if you are consistently being up and down outside of the building, it's gonna come on the field. It's gonna come a time and a place where, in the players, we can see, our teammates can see it better than anybody. You can see when somebody is locked in and when somebody is going through something.
Guys follow him. And I'm not saying the Chiefs don't have that, obviously, because they've won Super Bowls, okay? But I don't know. It feels like, as he said, he's got a persuasive personality, and he writes the persuasive, essays. It feels like coming from Jameis Winston of like, what are you doing off the field? Because your up and down play might be to what consistently you're not doing away from football. And in 2019, we were having fun as a team, and I was throwing touchdowns. We had Godwin and Evans, and it's like, yeah, throw the ball, man, and young O.J. Howard, and we're just flinging the ball all over the place. But week by week, it was up and down, and it was up and down with what was going on in my personal life. My dad wasn't coming to games anymore. His mom died. His brother died. He's got some things going on. Fiance, we were dealing with some things off the field with my, now wife, but fiance at the time, and that was affecting the on-field play. Other things that were going on around it. And it was like, we had a good week. Good week out there. Rough week away from the field. Rough game was played that weekend. I think that's specific evidence and somebody that lived through it to pass along, like, what are you doing during the week? What are you doing in your personal life to make sure that your professional doesn't have the highs and lows and the ebbs and flows that you can play at a high level? I mean, I wish Jameis was a free agent. I mean, I don't think the Giants would trade him because of his influence with Jackson Dart. I don't think John Harbaugh is going to go in there and let's trade Jameis Winston for a 7th rounder. I don't think that's going to be the case. But God, that would be like the dream backup.
Man.
Also, the press conferences would be badass.
Electric. So much fun.
It would be great. But I just think you hear that and where he's been and how much players love Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Love being around him. Could also be one of the reasons why John Harbaugh was like, yeah, I'm going to choose the Giants because we got Jameis already to work with Jackson, and he's already doing that. I got my quarterback. I got my backup quarterback. I got my running back. I got a wide receiver. I got 3 defensive linemen. We're good. Let's move forward. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, men, if you're out there and you happen to be suffering from erectile dysfunction, then there is no reason to wait around and see if it will figure itself out. Heartland Men's Health is here, and they have been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. If you have tried the pills or the herbals and they have failed, well, guess what? Heartland Men's Health treatments work when that happens. In fact, they have treatments with success rates well over 90%. It's easy. Schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit, that's $99. That includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T, and that PSA test. And if medically advised, a test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, the visit's free. If it does, there you go. They've got an expert staff with 3 locations to serve you. Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, wrapping up this hour. We got Sports or Leisure in the 1 o'clock hour, 913-381-810, first in, first on, playing some Sports or Leisure, $25 to Johnny's Tavern. We give away for some Sports or Leisure.
That sounds, we should do this live from Johnny's Tavern. We should just quickly go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's close.
Right around the corner.
It's right around the corner.
Yep, we could have made it there. You could have.
I should go and just get some pizza and some beers.
I should say it.
Winners!
I should go. I should say it. Walk into Johnny's Tavern. Hello, everybody. I should say it.
Should I just be like, hey, sorry, we're actually not doing giveaways because Sterling took all the gift cards and he's using them.
He's the guy over there with the stacked beer cups.
Beer cups.
They don't serve them in glass. He asked for the plastic.
He asked for plastic. It was weird.
It's odd.
He asked for styrofoam. It was a very weird request.
Hates the environment.
Weird man.
You're into sports, but nothing wrong with a little leisure time. Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Welcome to The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Jason Anderson, Michael Darcy. Get ready for a nice little game of sports and or leisure. Jason says the printer wasn't working, so
Why
that's
does
why
it say
he was
Paper Jam when there
late.
is no Paper Jam? PC load letter?
Office Space.
The heck does that mean? I am going to take that printer to a random field,
We have one we could go to.
and I'm going to say, damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
It's where we did our Peaky Blinders outfits at.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, but there were people driving by and stuff. I don't need any witnesses of me going to town on that thing with a baseball bat.
You all right?
Well,
Do I need to explain the game? So what we
No,
do
I'm-
is you'll
I'm-
call
no,
913-3-810.
I'm breathing hard
810.
because, not because I ran up and down the stairs. I ran 7 miles. That's why I'm breathing hard. I'm in great
Yeah.
shape.
Yeah,
Doctor said I'm in too
looks-
good of shape, actually.
Yeah.
It's weird. Doctor was like, you're too healthy, man. Slip in like a donut or something from time to time. You know what I mean? You're just way too healthy here. Maybe stop running so much. Weird that he would say that. What's the number again?
913-3-810-810. Call in. You will play sports and leisure.
Yeah.
And if you win, you will get a $25 gift card to Johnny's Tavern and a phone call with Michael Darcy.
You serious, Clark?
Yeah.
How about that, man?
That's pretty nice.
How about that? 913-3-810-810, you said?
That is correct.
Fantastic. You get a sports question, you get a leisure question, you get them both right, you win. Either of them wrong, though, you lose.
You lose. But we still like you.
No question. There are 0 hints that are given, and 0 second chances and third chances and fourth. There's definitely not a fifth chance. Never, ever, ever a fifth chance. Okay, but the question is out there for someone to call in and request if they know the answer to it. However, they may have come across the answer to it at that point. We just try to. It's a community. You know what I mean? It takes a village to go to Johnny's Tavern.
Does it?
Or just one person, whoever it is. Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay. That's how you play. You want to go through the categories?
Let's do it.
Shall we? Categories on the sports side, we've got NFL, and we have Chiefs playoffs questions. Chiefs playoff questions. What about on the leisure side, sir?
We have potpourri. We have riddles.
Mm-hmm.
And we have who sings this? Name the singer, not the band. I want to know the singer. The reason why I can't say not the band, well, some of these bands had 2 singers. They're all famous bands, all mostly.
Okay.
It is all basically classic rock.
Yeah.
So name the singer, not the band.
Name that singer.
Yeah.
That's the old TV show, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Everybody remembers this. Name that. All right, so those are the categories. I'm ready to play. I promise you I am. Sterling, you good to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Michael?
Let's do it.
Why haven't we called him Michael Darcia?
I've never heard that. I don't hate it.
I think I hate it, but I also don't hate it enough to not do it.
Michael Darcia is the guy running the operation today.
Am I going to get extended like him?
Just go ahead and press the mark button right there. Just go ahead and hit that mark button for yourself there, buddy. There we go. Yeah. All right, he's ready to go. Here we go to the phone lines. We are playing some sports or leisure. $25, Johnny Tavern on the line. And we lead off with T-Box. T-Box stepping into the box to play some sports or leisure. T-Box, what side do you want to start with, brother?
Well, I thought for sure it was Michael Bolton on the mic running the operation.
Why don't you change my name? It
was a great name until that no-talent ass clown became famous and started winning Grammys.
Yes.
You can just call me.
Give me NFL.
All right, general NFL for you. Okay, so.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just said old.
Oh.
I'm an old man.
Old general NFL. Okay. I mean, I don't remember if I asked this question last week or not. If I did, hey, great. If I didn't, I forgot to erase it, and we'll ask it now. Derrick Henry surpassed 1,500 yards rushing this year. It is the 5th season in his career with at least 1,500 yards. That is tied for the most in NFL history with what running back? I will tell you that had that running back played longer than he actually did, it's not like he retired because of, he wasn't good enough anymore. I'm trying to see how many years. Okay, yeah. So I'll tell you this. Derrick Henry's played 10 years. This running back played the exact same number of years.
I'm sure I've got it already, but it's got to be Barry Sanders.
Great. Yeah. I didn't need to give you. I was stalling because I wanted to see, like, if I knew Barry played 10 years because that's the story, but I'm like, was this the 10th year for Derrick Henry? Was this 11 for him? Was it 9? Turns out it was 10. They played the exact same number of seasons, and they have half of their years in the NFL with at least 1,500 yards rushing. Barry Sanders, well done. Over to the leisure with Sterling.
We have Who Sings This? Name the singer, not the band. We have Potpourri, and we have Riddles.
Who sings this?
All right.
Be a rock song.
All right, we'll do a little older for you too. Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap.
That would be the one all-time great frontman, Bon Scott.
That would be Bon Scott.
Bon Scott Jovi.
Nailed it.
Yes.
Not Bon Jovi, but yeah, Bon Scott there, Jason.
Is that not the same guy?
Slightly different.
By the way, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. If you're playing categories and you got the D letter and songs, I mean, you are killing it on that one, right?
Yeah, it's like 5 points.
It's fantastic. I only know that because one time it ended up being that a song title and it was D, and I'm like, heck yeah, dude. That's a winner, though. T-Box, you are heading to Johnny's Tavern with $25. Well done, sir.
All right, Rick Renfro rules. Johnny's North.
There you go, brother. T-Box, winner number 1. See, he's the first one in the box, and that's a leadoff home run. He's Alcides Escobar for us.
Which, by the way, did you see he hit a home run?
I saw that.
Like yesterday. Like last night.
Yeah. Was he leading off?
I think he was leading off.
Well, why not? Why not hit a home run as a leadoff? The only difference is that it was on a 3-2 count, not 0-0.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first pitch.
Wait, he took 3 balls?
That's a great point. I don't know. They might have been over his head.
Yeah.
They might have started to intentional to walk him, and that's how he had the 2 strikes, was because he swung at a couple of them.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then they're like, well, it's 3-2. Why would we walk him now? And then they hung one to him. Who knows? I don't know what happened in the previous 5 pitches, but let's see what happens with Charles here. Sports or leisure, Charles? What side would you like to start with?
Leisure. Let's do some potpourri.
All right, potpourri. What U.S. fast food chain is credited with introducing the first drive-through window to the masses?
First drive-through window.
Jason loves this place. Think of the name.
I don't think you're being serious about that. I could smell the sarcasm coming out of your mouth with that Jason loves this place.
I love this place, though. Think of the name. It will make kind of a little bit of sense once you realize, oh, yeah, that makes sense because they have a drive-through window.
If the name was overrated.
Oh.
Should have named it Overrated.
Would that be Red Giant Hamburger or In-N-Out Burger?
It'd be In-N-Out Burger. I don't know what the first thing is, but the second thing is definitely In-N-Out Burger. Just get it?
Weird.
Was it Red Giant Hamburger like before it was changed to In-N-Out Burger or something?
I don't know. I've never heard of that, but
it was Red Giant Hamburger until they put in that In-N-Out. Till they put in that window, that drive-through window, just a quick In-N-Out. They could name it Overrated if they want to.
No, that's the best fast food burger.
That's why it's overrated
in the Southwest.
Agreed.
It's the best. It's the best burger in the specific brick and mortar location of In-N-Out. So when you are in In-N-Out, it is the absolute best burger you can get in the country in that location.
In-N-Out slaps.
Why is there this vendetta against In-N-Out?
It's just I think it's overrated. That's all. Like
Cheeseburger will always be overrated if you go into it thinking it's going to be great.
No,
A
it's
cheeseburger
electric.
in
You're
general?
so wrong.
It's just most of the time
He does it because it's like something that people
I love
like, so he wants to
cheeseburgers.
hate on things because he wants to be edgy and cool.
That's not
You
me.
know, actually, I didn't think that movie was very good. Yeah, come on, Jason.
Says the guy that says the book was better.
The book was better.
I listened to Kings of Leon when they were a garage band until they went all mainstream and sold out. You know, no, I just Michael Darcia is wrong about his take on any cheeseburger is going to be underwhelming if you go in thinking it's good. I love cheeseburgers, and anytime I'm out of town, I try to find the best cheeseburger in town. I'm like Andy Reid of that, so I want to go around and find the best cheeseburger in different places. That is wrong. It's just when you do that and you go to all these different spots and you're traveling for work and you specifically look for the best cheeseburger, then you have In-N-Out and you're like, yeah, not good. I'll take Shake Shack.
Wow.
Way better. Way better.
You can't take him
Five
seriously.
Guys. I'll take Five Guys. Five Guys. I'll take Five Guys over In-N-Out. Okay. All right. On to the sports side, sir. We've got NFL and we have Chiefs playoffs.
Let's do general NFL.
All right. Very good. Aaron Rodgers quarterbacked the Steelers to a 10-win season. That is the 11th year that Aaron Rodgers has been a starting quarterback and won at least 10 games. That gives him the third most all-time seasons of 10 wins for a quarterback. Can you name me the other two? I said the other two because I feel like one of them is sort of a free space of every year winning at least 10 games for most of his career. But could be wrong, you know. Sometimes it's being pitched to.
Free space would probably be Patrick Mahomes.
Well, it's 10 years. It's 11th year for Aaron Rodgers, so you got to have at least 11 years in the NFL.
11 years, okay.
No. Free space.
The other free space I was thinking of was Tom Brady.
That's right. He's got 19 of them. So who would be the other one between Tom Brady at 19 and Aaron Rodgers at 11? That's why I said both, because I feel like, Tom Brady every year was winning at least 10 games. 19 of them, apparently. This player had 14 seasons of at least 10 wins.
14 seasons.
Including being carried to a championship his last year.
Carried to a championship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning is correct. That is correct. Well done. Second Super Bowl that year. He didn't win 10 games that year, but didn't, you got to 14 already. But Von Miller, the Super Bowl
Too many
MVP
wins.
there. Yeah, there you go. Charles will put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Absolutely. Back-to-back home runs. Just that easy. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. Mahomes will get there.
Yeah.
He'll get there. He's got 7 already. So, he's 4 years away already from tying Aaron Rodgers. So, all he needs is 12 more to tie Tom Brady. That's easy. That's easy. Let's go to who's up next. It is Cajun. Next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Cajun, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's do leisure singers.
All right. This is, I think, fairly easy. Stairway to Heaven.
Come on, man.
Cajun's offended by this, by the way.
I know, but
he's offended you would
tried
actually
being
ask him that question.
By that, brother. Dude.
I was trying to be easy for Cajun. I feel like we didn't get his soup. He didn't bring us soup. I'm trying to be nice.
It was our fault.
Just don't give me no goofy Dutch sheet thing, whatever the hell that was.
Oh, the double Dutch bus?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, see, I'm a little nicer this time.
That's really nice. Like you went the opposite. I feel like you're trying to make up for something.
I'm making up for double Dutch bus.
I feel like you're bringing flowers to Cajun because you feel bad about what you did last
Correct. I
week.
want soup sometime.
That roughing on Brady. That's what that was.
No soup for you. Who was it? I'm sorry.
Robert Plant, really? You wanted me to answer that?
I knew Cajun knew. I wasn't going to.
You really want me to say it?
Better one, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm nice.
So was that the one that? Okay. So onto the sports side we go. NFL.
It's Led Zeppelin, Jason, for since you didn't know who Zeppelin was.
Oh, I thought that was Kings of Leon. I could have sworn it was Rob Van Winkle. We've got NFL and we have Chiefs playoffs. Cajun, what you thinking?
NFL.
All right.
No. Let me try Chiefs playoffs.
Okay.
Jinx you guys. Well, I can't jinx you guys anymore.
You might. I don't know. Let's see.
Body special for that next score, right?
Yeah. Let's try this one. Which two cities do the Chiefs have at least 3 playoff wins against?
Cities?
Cities, yep. So teams, cities, that they have at least 3 playoff wins against.
Indianapolis.
They have not beaten the Colts. Have been their bugaboo. So
what?
At least
have you beaten the Colts ever?
They beat the Colts in 18. Holmes' first ever playoff win, but they hadn't beat them before that. Really, there is one particular city that has been the downfall of their potential dynasty recently. That would be the most wins for the Chiefs against a current particular team, city.
Oh man, back when the Raiders were good, maybe.
No, recently, very recently, very, very recently.
Patriots.
Very, very recently that they've got lots of wins against.
I give up. I shouldn't have.
Cajun, you're the man, sir. Appreciate you as always, brother. I appreciate. You know what? I appreciate you challenging yourself while Sterling gave you a layup. So
yeah, I mean,
that was nice.
Much easier for me than Chiefs or NFL or any kind of trivia, pretty much.
I'm a nice guy.
Yep, that's what they say. Cajun, you're the man. Appreciate you, brother.
Bye.
All right, 913-380-810. That question is out there. Jerry next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jerry, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
I'll take that sports question you just had.
All right, the two cities that the Chiefs have at least 3 playoff wins against.
Well, I'm sure the first one of them is Buffalo.
Buffalo, that is correct.
Yep.
They've got the 4 against them.
I think the second one.
And then the second one involves 2 different teams.
Yes.
So a little tricky. It's a city, but 2 different names of the teams that they played.
I believe I know this one.
Yes.
Tennessee Titans.
Well, where did Tennessee come from?
Were they the Houston Oilers?
So what city?
Houston.
There you go. Nice job. They've beaten the Oilers and the Texans.
Yeah.
So they have the 3 wins. So it's
Matt
4
Schaub
and 3.
Era did
That's
not
right.
do well.
And then the C.J. Stroud
Yeah.
Texans. So Houston and Buffalo, they have defeated at least 3 times in the playoffs. Over to leisure with Sterling.
Potpourri, who sings this song, name the singer, not the band, or riddles.
I better try Potpourri.
All right, Potpourri. What is the deadliest mammal?
Michael Darcy.
Could be.
If you mess with him.
What is the deadliest mammal? So it's not mosquito because it's mammal, right? So it's not like what's the deadliest animal. It's mammal.
Is mosquito the deadliest animal?
I think it is.
Okay.
Fairly certain.
I don't know.
I don't. Potential deadly. I guess I would think a tiger or a lion.
No. I don't know. Are those mammals? What are tigers and lions? Those are they're big cats.
They're catty. They're
They're
all
big
like,
cats.
They're all like sitting over there just gossiping about everybody. Like just
Think bigger.
How catty they are. Are we talking about somebody with a very, very, or something with a very wide mouth?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay.
Actually, what's funny is I'm wearing a KY 102.
Oh, good for you. Fantastic.
Jacket right now, and it was
Awesome.
actually their mascot.
Really? What station
Was
are you
this
on right
animal.
now, though?
This is no longer a station.
I know, but I just didn't know if you.
It's an old radio, old classic rock station.
Never heard of it.
I remember KY 102. The Fox? No, that's not them.
I was trying to see what it says. Oh, it says staff over there on the other side. I didn't. I was like, whose name is
Look
that?
at that right here. You can actually see that. That was the
Oh, I
mascot
know
of
that, yeah.
KY 102's mascot back.
How about that? Yeah, but that one's wearing sunglasses. I've never seen this particular.
No, you wouldn't see this one wearing sunglasses.
Tough to spell. Damn, you gave him the easy one.
A hippo?
Yes,
Yeah!
it is a hippo.
Hip Hop Anonymous. That's right. Hip Hop Anonymous. Damn, you gave him the easy one.
It's all I want for Christmas.
Your two
That
front
lady,
teeth.
that lady wanted a kid wanted a hippo. She would have died horrible. I hope her parents did not give her that hippo for Christmas. That'd be a horrible gift.
But if you get one that is already housebroken, then you're fine.
Yeah,
you're fine.
That's the issue.
Yeah, so what you want to do is you get a hippo as a baby, and then they get used to you, and they will never turn on you. Like tigers and lions and everything.
Safe.
It's never happened before. Raising bears, they never turn on you. Lions, tigers never turn on you. They love you. They never have their instincts of trying to kill you or anything like that. Is that a winner for Jerry? Is that both? You got the Buffalo and Houston, right? And you got the Hip Hop Anonymous. All right. Jerry, we'll put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. 913-381-1010. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Those on hold, we'll get to you first. 913-381-810. $25 Johnny's Tavern. We've got a few winners already. Some plenty of questions available there with Chiefs playoffs and some general NFL and some leisure categories as well. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. Playing for Johnny's Tavern, a little sports or leisure. $25 at Johnny's Tavern, getting sports and leisure right, winning the prize. Categories on the sports side, NFL, and we have Chiefs-specific playoff questions that we are asking. And the leisure side is what, Sterling?
Riddles, potpourri, and who sings this? Name the singer, not the band.
Ah, yes. There we go. That's a good distinction. All right, 913-381-0810. Back to playing. Let's go to John next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. John, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's go with, since the Chiefs aren't in the playoffs, I feel like I want to live vicariously through these questions.
Damn right.
Let's go with the Chiefs playoff question.
All right, let's go with this one then. Travis Kelce is the all-time leader in postseason touchdowns for the Chiefs with 12. Who is second with 10?
Oh, gosh. Let's see.
This is one of the guys that, if you just looked at Chiefs postseason, would have a lot more of a fond memory of an impact on the team than maybe he does in the run that the Chiefs have been on.
Oh, gosh. Well, it's got to be somebody recent. I mean, that's all their touchdowns are in this last...
It's a good way of looking at it. In this run.
10 years.
Mm-hmm. And they scored a whole lot more touchdowns earlier in the run.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. And no wide receivers stand out, and running backs.
Does this need to be said?
No, it does not need to be said.
Okay.
Nope.
God dang.
Nope.
Mahomes wouldn't. I'm thinking Mahomes or...
No, because that would have only been rushing touchdowns for Mahomes. He'd have had... this guy has 10 total touchdowns.
Yeah, he wouldn't have rushed for
not
that many. Williams or... He had a few. Damian Williams.
Damian Williams with 10. In 5 games, Damian Williams scored 10 touchdowns for the Chiefs.
That's insane, yeah.
The 19 and 20 season, both Super Bowl runs. But he had 4 receiving touchdowns and 6 rushing touchdowns, Damian Williams did in the 2 years. He is all over the Chiefs' playoff records and things like that. We look back and how much we took for granted, how good Damian Williams was for that offense. Over to the leisure with Sterling.
Potpourri, who sings this, or riddles?
Let's see. I'm really tempted to go with the Who Sings This because I'm guessing there's like a go-go song coming up and it's Belinda Carlisle, but I'll hold that.
It was actually Brandy Carlisle. Sorry.
What are the odds?
Yeah.
Okay, but let's do Who Sings This.
All right, who sings this? Bad Company.
Oh, shoot.
Bad Company by the band Bad Company of the album Bad Company.
It's like Lou Gehrig having Lou Gehrig's disease. What are the odds?
Paul Rogers, right?
That is Paul Rogers. Yeah, nice.
Nice job.
I think he was in Queen, I believe, for a while. He might still be. I don't know if they do anything, but he was in Queen for a while, I believe.
What that?
After Freddie.
Good for knowing that. John, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thank you, guys.
Get that, huh? That's another winner. Another winner, Johnny's Tavern dinner or lunch or happy hour.
Wrong with Queen? Did he?
I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
I know you're
Queen and Paul Rogers.
I know you're just thinking out loud that you weren't legitimately asking me the question.
Yeah, you would have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'll take your word for it, man. Was he in Queens at any point? Maybe. Was he in the Bronx? I'm not sure either. Long Island? Who knows? You tell me. I'm out on this one. Let's go to Brian next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brian, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Let's start with leisure. Singers.
Ace of
As
Spades.
Roger Daltrey said, it's the singer, not the song, that makes the music move along.
I like that. Unless you're a Chili Peppers fan like me, then it really is mostly the other three. We'll go with Ace of Spades.
Lemmy.
That is
Lemmy Kilmister.
That is correct. I'm wearing a Motorhead shirt right now, so I thought, why not?
How about that?
Why not throw a little Lemmy in there?
Why not,
By the way,
man?
this is a little fun fact that maybe most people don't care about. I was going to ask Hellraiser. You could have said either Ozzy or Lemmy. Lemmy wrote it for Ozzy, and then they had them both on separate albums. And the whole joke was Lemmy said, writing that song, I made more money writing that than I ever did just up to that point doing his own stuff in Motorhead. So that was always kind of a fun little...
Are you sure it wasn't Mama, I'm Coming Home?
No, well, he may have wrote that too, but he
wrote that.
He wrote Hellraiser, which was on his album, and then also on Ozzy's, and then they did like a 30-year combo where they both did it together, which kicks a lot of ass.
Marlon Brando made $20 million. Marlon Brando made $20 million for 10 minutes of work on Superman in the 70s because they gave him 15%.
Smart.
He was on set for a day and made $20 million. Nice gig if you can get it. On to the sports side, sir. We have NFL and we have Chiefs playoffs specific questions.
Let's do Chiefs playoffs.
All right, very good. Let's see what the next one we want to go with the Chiefs playoffs here. Well, that's going to be an easier one to answer. Let's do this. There are 5 quarterbacks in Chiefs history to lead the Chiefs to a postseason win. Besides the first and the most recent, being Lenny and Patrick, who are the other 3 quarterbacks to have a postseason win on their resume for the Chiefs?
Trent Green? No, not.
No. You're just thinking out loud.
He's thinking out loud
sort of
right
like trying to go through the different. You're just going back in time, just thinking this quarterback, that quarterback, this quarterback, was this quarterback, that quarterback. When you're ready
Joe
to answer one. Joe got one against the Steelers and the Oilers.
Lenny the Cool?
Lenny was the first one, besides Lenny and Patrick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Matt Castle, the great Matt Castle?
No,
you're just thinking out loud.
You're just throwing names out there
but
now.
But next one you say we're gonna have to maybe.
Alex Smith.
Alex is one of them as well. One more.
Steve DeBerg.
There you go. All
Boom.
right.
See?
Got it. Steve DeBerg, Joe Montana, Alex Smith. The only ones that won a playoff game between Lenny and now Patrick.
Well, yeah, because it'd been so long when you were saying those. Like it couldn't have been anyone because it was 94.
Sure as hell wasn't
up to,
wasn't Bono or Gerback.
No.
That's a winner, right?
That is a winner.
Okay, very good. We'll put you on hold. Yeah, absolutely. Put you on hold. You get to talk to Michael Darcia. There we go. 913-3-810-810.
Okay, that's growing on me. I kind of like it now.
Let's go to G is next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. G, Sports or Leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's do sports.
All right, we have General NFL and we have Chiefs playoffs.
Let's do Chiefs playoffs.
All right, Chiefs playoffs for you. Patrick Mahomes against the Eagles in the Super Bowl completed 77.8% of his passes in that Super Bowl. A game in which apparently he wasn't all that good because Eagles fans are dumb.
Are you talking about the last one, right?
The one they won. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, the 2022 Super Bowl that they scored 38 points. He completed 77.8% of his passes in that game. Which player in Chiefs history did he pass for the record completion percentage in a game as a starting quarterback? In at least 10 to 15.
Are you asking
which quarterback for the Chiefs had the highest completion percentage in a single game before Patrick Mahomes had his game against the Eagles in the Super Bowl? Probably a better way of putting it.
Playoff game or regular
Playoff
season?
Game. Has to. These are all just playoffs. So this quarterback completed 77.3% of his passes in one game in the playoffs before Patrick had that game against the Eagles when he was at 77.8.
Okay, I was born in '95. Is it before me or after me?
It's after you. You'd have been watching this game.
This
for sure.
I feel like might be a trick question.
Why is that?
Not a trick question.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not like a Travis Kelce or anything.
No. I mean, if I say it, it might give it away. I don't want to give it away. Give it away.
No. Let me try to.
He's going to try to think of it. I don't know.
I want to try this.
I don't know the hint though. By the way.
Well, okay. The only 2 quarterbacks I watched go to the playoffs were. I'm going to start with Alex Smith and Trent Green. It's a trick question, though. So.
No, it's not.
No, I thought it might be.
I don't know what Sterling's doing. It's not a trick. By the way, he doesn't have the answers in front of him.
I don't have the answers in front. So I'm also. I'll give you a hint. It's not Trent Green because that was my.
That was going to be your trick question. Is that it wasn't in a win?
It wasn't in a win. My trick. I thought it was going to be. It was not in a win. So I thought, I wonder if Trent Green did it.
It has to be Alex Smith, right?
I mean. Is that your final answer?
That is my. I'm confident with Alex Smith. I gotta be.
You'd be surprised that it's Alex Smith. It is Alex Smith against the Houston Texans in the first win when they got that one finally. That
was the first playoff game I ever saw us win.
Well, there you go. And that was a playoff game that had the record for completion percentage until old Patrick Mahomes did some cool things against the Philadelphia Eagles.
So my thought originally was Trent Green in a loss. I wonder. My thought was the no punt game. Like I thought, I was thinking, okay, so that was a great offensive game. I wonder if that's a trick of Trent Green, but it came in a loss.
Yeah, no,
it was not.
It was Alex Smith against the Houston Texans, although they didn't really need it that day for him to be amazing.
That was the Matt Schaub game, I think, 30-0.
Niall Davis.
No, that was that was it wasn't Schaub. Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer. There we go. Sorry, Matt Schaub.
I knew I was going to get it.
Sorry, Schaub. It was Hoyer.
It was not Schaub, but yeah, I mean, interchangeable.
Yeah, they were very similar.
Houston quarterbacks. Is that one side or is that
both? That is one side.
Okay, very good.
Now we have riddles, potpourri, or who sings this?
I want to see what Trent did in the Colts game.
Okay, what is that category?
Potpourri is just random trivia knowledge, just the most random things.
Okay, let's try that because I don't probably know the other two.
Okay, the most random things. What does the Richter scale measure?
How many Ricks?
The Richter scale?
Not Andy Richter.
Oh.
Yeah, shockingly, it's not.
Isn't that the earthquake one?
That is the earthquake one. Yes, correct. I wanted to ask it that way because I thought what scale are earthquakes measured on might be harder. So, yes, the Richter scale measures earthquakes. You nailed it.
Trent was 18 of 30 in that game, that no punt game. Interesting. It's 60%. It's not bad, but I just in my mind I'm thinking like no incomplete passes, every single handoff to Priest is a first down.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's 24 of 27 or something.
There was definitely a BS penalty against Tony Gonzalez. Whatever. G will put
Dante held the ball.
Oh yeah. G will put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done. See that? There you go. $25. Johnny's Tavern is his. I always tell the story. I never saw Dante Hall score the touchdown on the kickoff return because it was a big watch party in college. We were watching it, and by the time he got across midfield and we knew that he had broken free, I mean, it was a dog pile.
Yeah.
Like, in nowadays, you can't do that until you know there's a flag, especially with the Chiefs. I mean, with the Chiefs, kickoff returns, it's like, okay, well, let's wait for the flag here. But at that point, it was just like mayhem.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Final wasn't awesome, though. Let's go to Steve next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Steve, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
I'll go with sports.
All right, do you want NFL or do you want the Chiefs-specific questions?
I'll do Chiefs-specific.
All right. Who is the Chiefs? I don't know that I want to answer that one or ask that one. You know what? I'm going to anyway. Who is the Chiefs' leading tackler in the postseason? Most tackles in franchise history this particular player has.
Well, it's not an easy one.
He's played in a decent amount of playoff games. I mean, that's the thing. It's sort of like, I mean, it's when you're talking about the records for these guys, especially counting stats,
it's going to be,
it's got to be this run, right?
Yeah.
So the most tackles.
Did he play at Mizzou?
He would not have made the playoffs at Mizzou, but he did have a lot of tackles there. But he did have a lot of tackles.
Nick Bolton.
Nick Bolton is the Chiefs' all-time leading tackler in the postseason. I didn't think that was that incredibly difficult. But yeah, Nick Bolton. But it also wasn't all that fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fun for me to let people know Nick Bolton. I'm always a Nick Bolton.
Stan. Absolutely.
I yell it from the top of the mountains.
You do, yeah. You
or
sent
into
us
a mic.
No, you sent us video of you climbing up a mountain to yell Nick Bolton, which was really weird for you to do.
It was more of a hill, but yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. Over to leisure with Sterling.
Potpourri, riddles, or who sings this?
Let's go with riddles. Nobody's done riddles.
I know riddles are fun. Okay. Where can you finish a book without finishing a sentence?
Spades.
Where can you finish a book?
By the way, I'm right, but
No, we're not. It's not spades.
it absolutely is spades. But anyway,
Where can you
It's
finish
spades,
a
always
book without finishing a sentence?
finish a book.
Was it a matchbook? It is.
Oh, I like that one.
Book of matches.
Yeah.
Dang it! That
Also correct.
correct. Fine, you get it. It's not what I was looking for.
What are you looking for specifically? Which specific answer of the 15
I'll give
answers
it to you.
this?
I will give it to you.
Okay.
But where can you finish a book without finishing a sentence? That is prison. That is prison.
Finish a book? I would have not. I like the
I
matches.
think my answer is better. Yeah.
Yeah, spades is a better answer. Matches is a better answer.
A prison sentence.
sentence.
You finish a book, but oh no, I still have 9 years left.
Oh, all right. That makes
I would not have ever landed on that.
I gave
dude.
it to you. Okay,
I'm with you.
Appreciate it.
I'm a nice guy.
I think Steve. I think you should change the answer to Steve.
Well, it's gone now. It's gone now.
I think Steve just rewrote our alma mater. That's another Lean on Me reference there.
I'll start writing questions for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Just come up with different riddles.
I thought that was pretty good.
It was fine.
Sorry, I guess
It was
fine. The riddle master has been stumped.
Yeah, that's right. Steve is now the riddle
Go in
master.
jail.
It's like King of the Mountain. You were on the mountain yelling Nick Moulton. Steve is now the King of the Mountain because he's knocked you off your perch. Steve, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
How about that? Yes, sir. That was. I mean, I think all three of those are the right answer, but there could be other ones
Yours
too.
less so, but yeah.
I mean, whatever. It's still right. I mean, it is actually literally right. But anyway, we'll take a timeout. One more segment to go with Sports or Leisure. If you're on hold, we'll get to you. 913-381-810-810. We continue to play Sports or Leisure for $25 at Johnny's Tavern. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. We hand it over to Soren Petro at 2 o'clock with the program. And coming up tonight, best of, and a little NBA action with the Knicks and Golden State Warriors. A couple of more contestants and a little sports or leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern, $25 to Johnny's Tavern. We give away. We head to John next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. John, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Hey, guys, how are you?
Good, how are you, man?
Good. Sports will be good.
All right, we got NFL?
NFL, right?
Just general NFL?
Yeah, NFL fine.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
Let's go with Bijan Robinson ended his third season with a career total of 5,648 scrimmage yards.
Fact.
That is the third most scrimmage yards for a player's first 3 seasons. Name either of the other two. Scrimmage yards, first 3 years. Either of the other two.
Correct?
Yeah, yep. So it's going to be a running back that also was a pretty damn good receiver. Yeah.
Let's just go with LaDainian Tomlinson.
He is number one.
Yeah.
LaDainian Tomlinson with the most. Second most, Eric Dickerson.
Yeah.
LT, ED, and BR. Okay, very good.
LT is almost always on those lists of scrimmage yards early on. Yeah.
Over to leisure with Sterling.
We have riddles, we have potpourri, and we have who sings this?
Let's go with the riddles. I was going to go Book of Matches, by the way.
Yeah, Book of Matches was right.
Yeah.
You were right about that.
What has a neck but no head?
Oh, I know.
Do you?
Uh-huh. It's you can get this at a place where you also get a Book of Matches. Right?
What do you think?
Neck with. Let's see.
Oh, you're going with that? I'm going with the.
We are very different on our riddle interpretation.
Yeah. No, because that's actually wrong. I'll tell you why that would be wrong in a second.
You're stupid. It'll be right. If he answers it, we're giving it to him.
Nope.
Go ahead, throw a dart.
What has a neck but no head?
Neck with no head. I might bow out of this one, guys. I don't know if I can get that one.
Give you a little bit of time to think. Michael and I both came up with the same answer. Sterling said that's not the answer he's looking for. So I think there's 2 answers out there that I would give you if you get either one of them. But, you can get this at a place where you might grab a Book of Matches on your way out, or just like a bowl of, peanuts that'd be sitting there randomly. That'd be gross. But anyway, that's my answer, but it's not Sterling's.
A bottle.
There we go. That's what I said. A bottle. Sterling says it's not correct.
It can't be a beer because beers have head. The head of the beer. That's foam. That's
a bottle.
Yeah.
A bottle. I didn't say a bottle of beer. I said a bottle. Now, you can get a bottle of beer there, but I didn't say the beer. I said bottle of beer.
I'll give it to you.
We're allowing it. What's the answer you're looking for?
No, you don't get it. The next person that gets riddles will get the real answer.
Okay, very good.
We're
John,
saving it.
We'll put you on hold anyway.
John, we're being very nice.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, fellas.
Yep, because you're right. Let's go to Shane wrapping us up here. Let's get a walk-off here. Shane, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Hi, guys. This is sports, and NFL is fine.
Just general NFL? Okay, so Travis Kelce, 191 consecutive games with a reception, 4th most all-time. He's also the 2nd player all-time to play at least 13 years and catch a pass in every game that he played in and recorded an offensive snap. Who is the other with 190 consecutive games with a catch and had a catch in every single game of his career? I thought it would have been that guy, too.
Not the guy that wears copper fit.
Yep. I'll just say that his son already would not be able to be in this category. His son already is eliminated from being in this category.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
You kind of ruled that out. The first guy I was thinking of, you kind of ruled out for me, so I appreciate that.
But yeah, this guy's son playing in the NFL.
Yep, I got it.
Is already eliminated from catching a pass in every single one of his games.
All right, I'm going to say Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison is correct. Over to leisure.
Riddles. Name that singer or potpourri. Singer. We will go with Back in Black.
Oh, singer?
Yes, singer.
Oh, band.
Singer.
Oh, AC/DC is the band, but
singer
is Bon Scott? No. Yeah.
No, it's not him.
What? I thought I heard it. What was it? What did you say, Sterling?
We'll give it to him, Brian Johnson.
That's what he said.
I don't know. His connection went out.
Yeah, he said that. Brian Johnson will put you on hold, Shane. Congratulations. Well done. $25 to Johnny's Tavern.
Mick would hate that.
Yes. What was the bottle answer? A guitar?
We'll find it
You're
next time.
wrong.